five rivers.
Years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
What's going on? We back. Y'all know what time it is.
Oh, you didn't know?
50-50.
Man.
Welcome to the 50-50 Show with PharoahNFL and the Severe Raider, the realest show for Raider Nation.
The perpetuation of the greatness of the Raiders to take a professional football team and give it a distinct characteristic that's different from all others.
Make sure to clock in, like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
Raiders! What's going on, man? We appreciate everybody coming through. You already know, man, it's the 50-50 Show with my guy, the Severe Raider, obviously myself, PharoahNFL, man. We appreciate everybody's patience. You already know. Hey, man, it's a 50-50 tradition. If we not running late, you know, it's y'all better be checking on us. But look, at the end of the day, man, hey, look, we got a lot to talk about. Tough loss against a hated division rival against the Broncos. We'll get into all that. We appreciate everybody coming through. Let's get into the chat real quick, man. We see y'all pulling up left and right, man. Oh, man, we got Carlos M. Fuego in the building, man. He says Gitsy isn't our offensive coordinator. He wants to get it started right now. He said his schemes, concepts are trash. Put in Aiden and let him check out of Getsy's play calls. AP made a mess of this. Raider Nation for life. Man, there's a whole lot to unpack right here, and I know Severe has a lot to say with this whole thing right here, as well as myself too. I'm not. Hey, man, I wouldn't say 100% agree, and we'll get into that, Carlos. Appreciate you coming through. We got Rambo Adventures, man. My guy, man. He says, Raider Nation in Thailand in the house, man. Appreciate you coming through, man. Real. Oh man, we got a fellow Bay Area native. Myra in the building, man. Appreciate you coming through.
Finally got that thing, brother.
Hey, man. Hey, just wanted to put that out there because y'all been asking for it, so I had to put it out there. Billy Davis in the building says, so what's up, Raider Nation? Appreciate you coming through. Dominique says, what's up, fellas, man? Appreciate you coming through. Myra, you just had to take shots right here, man. You just had to take shots right here. CP time like MF is Pharaoh still shopping for some shades. Actually not, man, but I appreciate it though. I appreciate you paying attention and watching my videos. Appreciate it. Protect your shield in the building says 50-50 time. Salute to my dog Severe and Pharaoh. Salute chat, man. Appreciate you coming through. Protect the shield in the building, man. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to head over there and subscribe to my guy. Protect the shield, Chris in the building, man. Yaya Hatamaki in the building, man. Appreciate you coming through. And yeah, man, hey, look, just a little special service announcement before we get the show started. Make sure to check out the 50-50 shop, man, and get the latest and greatest, man. Definitely check it out. And actually, there's some new stuff in there too as well, man. There's only one nation, man. I'm just gonna leave it at that. There's only one nation. Go over there and check out what I'm talking about. As you can see on the screen, 5050shop.printify.me, man. Make sure to check out and get some dope gear. Some good stuff for Raider fans and for all fans, man, that support the show as well. So we appreciate everybody coming through. Raider Solo in the building. My guy, appreciate you coming through.
Yeah, man.
Another dope Raider content creator. Make sure to head over there and subscribe to my guy. Brave Raider in the building, man. Appreciate you coming through. Man, we got everybody pulling up today. Hey, we got
Raider Ray.
My guy Ray, man. Hey, man. This dude, hey, I know he's frustrated with this season. Man, I know he's frustrated this season, man. Oh my God. But look, let's not waste any time. Let's not waste any time. Let's just get into it, man. Obviously, you had a couple of days for everything to sink in. The Raiders lost. Whole lot of things happened. I had to rewatch the game because, I wasn't, usually I like watching the game at the house, to be honest with you. If it's not at the game, I like watching the house because there's no in between with me because I want to focus and have a good time. And sometimes just watching it at the house, you can really catch everything. But I rewatched the game. I mean, initially, I was disgusted by Minshew. I still am. I still am. But he had a hot start to the game. He started 9 for 9. Obviously, big touchdown pass. People can argue, was that luck? I don't know. He just threw it up there. And, man, Brock Bowers made a hell of a play, was able to get that 50-50 ball. Shout out 50-50. And was able to take it all the way to the house, 57-yard touchdown. Brock Bowers, shout out to him, 8 receptions, 97 yards, a touchdown. He's looking like the real deal Holyfield, man. He is going to be the guy that the Raiders are going to have to build around. And I ain't mad at it, man. Hey, look.
Hell no.
I'm just saying, we were talking before the show, man, we're kind of surprised that, at him attacking the ball in the air like that because that was not a strength of him coming out. No. But, hey, man, Getsy said something the other day last week about Brock Bowers. He was like, he'll make a mistake, correct it, and he'll dominate the next rep. Like
never make it again.
And when you hear sometimes – there's a lot of coach speak. There's a lot of, it's just another game. But certain comments like that just speaks to the level of greatness for Brock Bowers. I mean, he's 21 years old. He's going against grown men, and he's dominating. And I think right now, he is number one in catches, targets, yards for tight ends.
Everything.
Everything.
Only thing he probably don't got is touchdowns, and that's because we ain't giving opportunities yet. But shoot.
Yeah.
If we get some better quarterback play, he'll be number one in that too. And that's the thing, man. Like, even his first game, one of the things he wasn't great at in college is contested catches. What did he do his first game? 3 for 3 contested catches, right? So, like, he's not great in jump ball situations. What does he do? Like, he makes a play on that pass, and that's like just people don't understand how difficult that play is to make as somebody that played wide out before, because everything in your body, when you see the ball in the air, everything in your body is screaming for you to push the player that's in front of you and catch the ball. and that's going to be offensive pass interference. So for him to show the discipline to not commit a pass interference on that play, catch the ball, turn around, and then have the speed and athleticism to outrun a corner. There's only maybe 4 or 5 tight ends in the entire league that can make that play, man. So that was an incredible play, like crazy play.
Great play, great start to the game. Obviously, eventually, the Raiders were up 10-3, rolling down. Offense was moving and grooving. Madison looked like an upgrade over Zamir. You know, just his ability to make the, you know, as far as running the football, I mean, I think the O-line needs to take a little bit of responsibility as run blocking. But the one thing that I'll say that Madison has over Zamir and is an upgrade is just making the guy miss. When it's that one-on-one situation, and sometimes you see it when, you know, Madison is catching the ball out the backfield and he has to make that guy miss. He does a really good job of making that first guy miss. And the offense was moving and grooving, rolling down 10-3. Yeah. And then Minshew had to throw that interception, man. And that was the story. That literally was the end of the game, man. 34 straight points after that moment, man. Pick six. We all know what happened. I'm not going to go over every little detail. I'm sure everybody watched the game. But, man, that right there. And it just seemed like he lost his confidence at that point, too, as well. Like, the offense, I don't know if he lost his confidence or the team lost his confidence. I mean, it just seemed like an avalanche. Like, it just seemed like the momentum just took over. Yeah, man. 34 straight points. You know, it is what it is. Yeah, go ahead.
So I want to say I believe it was the very next drive. The very next drive, we had like a 3rd and 8. And then he hits Jacoby Myers, who was like literally last year was literally the most short-handed wide receiver in the entire NFL. And look at the percentage, like drop percentage. He had the lowest drop percentage in the entire league. And he hits him for what would have been a first down and a drive extender, and Jacoby drops it. And it's just like that was like that is just saying like that interception kind of just took the wind out of our sails, man. And we can never recover after that. Yeah.
And like I said, Minshew started the game off well. You know what I mean? As far as him getting out the pocket when the play broke down, got a couple of first downs with runs, started the game 9 for 9. But Minshew just showed why he's a career backup. Like, he's not a guy that you can rely on, you know, for that long. I mean, and, you know, he went on to, I think, throw a second interception. And we'll talk about the third pick that he have. Shout out, flag on the play. But but he threw a second pick. Aiden O'Connell comes into the game, and he doesn't really do too much after that. I mean, like, there were signs. Look, here's my thought about Aiden O'Connell versus Minshew right now, because that's the talk right now. I think everybody's talking about, like, how that Aiden O'Connell should take over. And I kind of said it. I tweeted it after during the game. I'm like, you know what? At this point, let's move to AOC and just see what we can get out of him. But look, there's a reason why not Antonio, but Davante Adams requested a trade. There's a reason why. Yeah. And it's because the quarterback situation is terrible. Yeah. If we're all being honest, we're all Raider fans. We're not hating. If we're all just being honest and said, if you had to answer this question about who's good and who's bad, there's no in between with Aiden O'Connell and Minshew. Most likely you're going to say they're bad. You're not going to say they're good. You know what I mean? If there's no in between, if you had to say is this guy a good player or a bad player, would you say? Yeah. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think you underestimate some of these Raider fans because like people looked at that game right with Aiden O'Connell, like the same game I was watching, and they saw Aiden O'Connell throw more passes, complete less of them, for less yards per attempt, for no touchdowns, and throw an interception, and almost create his own safety. And they said that like he's clearly better than Minshew. Like it's not a situation where they're both bad. It's like, no, man, Aiden O'Connell is clearly the answer. So I don't think like like in the real world, people will be able to say neither one of these guys are NFL starters. But we're not in, like, these people are in the matrix. A lot of these people are in the matrix because they can look at what he did. You look at just the eye test says he was bad. The statistics say he was worse than says he was worse than Gardner Minshew. Now that's debatable, but the statistics say he was. Passer rating, QBR, both worse than Gardner Minshew. And these people will still say, like, he's an upgrade. Like, he's not an upgrade. It's a lateral move. Literally, it's a lateral move. But, like, I don't know. People don't want to come to that realization. Like, I realized after the Panthers game that we don't have a starter on this team. Davante probably saw the same thing. A lot of people are on this kick where, Davante, if we would have just started Aiden O'Connell, like, if that's all it took was us starting Aiden O'Connell, do you think that he will push for a trade or just push for Aiden O'Connell to be the starter? Like, so obviously he doesn't believe that Aiden O'Connell is that guy either. But people haven't made up in their mind because he had nice things to say about him that, Davante thinks Aiden O'Connell is going to be the savior. But no, he wants to get the hell up out of here. And he's not pushing for Aiden O'Connell to be a starter. He's pushing to leave.
Yeah. And White Tyson says they're bad. Now I feel you, and I think they're on the same level, but they just offer different skill sets. And the reason why Minshew, and the reason why Minshew was the starter to begin with is because the Raiders coaches, the team, seeing that that offensive line wasn't probably going to be as strong as to begin the season, and they're going against some pretty talented pass rushers to start the season. So they probably felt more comfortable going with Minshew. But now that the last couple of weeks, the Raiders were able to, you can argue the Raiders' run game is getting a little bit better. That Cleveland Browns game, over 150 yards. This game, there were some explosive runs. We're able to see the run game going a little bit better, but it's getting better, what I'm saying. And I know I'm just comparing it to how the Raiders started the season and then to now. Big difference. Offensive line slightly improving. I mean, they might have struggled at certain points, but way better than how it started the season. So now you can make an argument, okay, maybe it makes sense to maybe start AOC next game. I kind of like Minshew to be the guy coming off the bench. So to start the game, start with AOC, lean on that run game, have that run game be a threat because AOC's coming in. We know that he's not a guy that's going to offer you a lot of second reaction plays, right? So if you're going to have him come off the bench where the pass rushers know that, hey, look, they're going to have to pass, I don't like AOC in those types of moments. But if you start him, let the run game get going, let play action be a factor because AOC is pretty. I think that's probably strength of his game when turning his back to the defense, being able to, accurately deliver the ball. But then once the game gets out of hand, then we turn to a guy like Minshew. Because we had Tashawn Reed, shout out to him earlier in the year as far as, I think we had him a couple of shows ago. And we asked him about the Raiders quarterback situation. And he was pretty honest. He was like, hey, look, they struggled all offseason. From the mini camps to training camps. It's a guy that's been there up close and personal to every practice, every mini camp, every training camp practice, and he said they struggled. And most likely we're going to see both quarterbacks. And this was like, what, week 1, week 2? So we're not surprised that, look, at this point, I think we should see AOC. But I like Minshew coming off the bench. I don't like him going into the game as a starter. I like him coming off the bench because I feel like he's that scrappy player, able to make some plays. But once the team starts game planning against him, I feel like, I don't know what he just, this whole year to me, he struggled, to be honest with you. I try to give him a benefit of doubt as far as offensive line being an issue. But as the offensive line is getting better each and every game, run game being a factor, come on, man. You cannot make turnovers like that, man. You can't make turnovers where literally we're at goal line. I mean, what were your thoughts like earlier in the game when the game started?
The game started, man. I thought we started well. I mean, the offense was on a roll. We had the first play, the big play to Brock. I was amped. we ran right down again. I don't know if we had a punt after that, and then we got the field goal, but then we eventually got a field goal. We're up 10. I'm like, cool, man. This is, hey, this is how, we're off to a good start. It's kind of where we want to be at. We want to kind of keep ourselves ahead of this guy, allow us to kind of do some blitzing, maybe confuse a rookie quarterback. And then, we're driving down the field again. And on that drive, we saw Gardner Minshew get out the pocket, make some, had some nice runs. I think he had 2 or 3 nice runs. So I was like, okay, man, this is playing out just how we want it to play out. We drive down the field. He had to play before where I think we got us basically within scoring position. Then he had that play. And there were so many things wrong with that play, man. There were so many things, so many things wrong with that play, man. First of all, I don't mind the play call, but we're running that kind of roll out to the short side of the field. I'd rather us run it to the long side of the field. So we're on the hash mark closest to that side. I'd rather run to the other side, gives us a little bit more room. Also, I'd rather run that play away from Patrick Surtain. And if you run into the other side of the field, Gardner, he's a right-handed quarterback. He doesn't have to turn his body to try to make that throw. He can just make it in his natural progression. So, but then just the decision by Gardner and that, so that's part of what made it a difficult throw. You're rolling to your left. He has a guy in his face. He's short, so he has to get the ball over the guy while turning his shoulders, and it's just an inaccurate pass. And where he placed it, it's that was the worst place to place it. Put it out in front of Brock, let Brock run to it. But when he put it behind him,
wait. And not to cut you off. Hold up. Do we got some breaking news? Do we got some breaking news? Did Davante just get traded? Did Davante Adams get traded? Hold up. Let me check this out real quick. Did Davante Adams just get traded? Let me see.
I think somebody's trolling.
And if you're trolling,
check Twitter.
You're gonna get blocked. I'm gonna block you right now just for stopping the show. Let's see.
Check Twitter.
Yeah. Hold up.
Cause it's not. I checked ESPN. It's not up there yet. So
yeah. Come on, bro. Come on, man. I ain't gonna block you, but I'm gonna put you on timeout. I'm gonna put you on timeout.
You want punishment like a mug, bro? Come
on, man. Well, it's gonna happen any day now. We'll see. We'll keep it on it. But go ahead, Severe. My bad, not to cut you off, bro. I thought he got traded.
Oh yeah, nah, man. We had to stop the show for that. Now, but that's what makes that throw more difficult than it has to be. But at the end of the day, man, you're an NFL quarterback, bro. You got to put that ball in a better spot, man. It's you can't,
wide open.
You cannot lay that ball. You cannot lay that ball out there. Give him. You have to at least give him, put the ball where he has a chance to make a play on it, and where he put that ball. Nobody in the NFL has maybe Shaq or somebody can get a hand on that pass, but nobody in the NFL currently could have touched that pass. So maybe Megatron in his prime, but nobody else other than that is touching that pass. So that's unacceptable, man. That's just unacceptable.
Yeah. Now he was wide open, and he missed another play where Brock was open. He had a step on a defender up the sideline, and it looked like he could have just. It looked like he overdid it. He almost felt like there was pressure, but there was no pressure. He could have just.
No, bro. It wasn't even that, bro. He had a clean pocket. The pocket was one of the best pockets he had the entire game, bro. He just didn't set his feet. He was it was some. I want to say it was off of some kind of. I think it was off of play action, and then he rolls out, but then he does some weird clicking thing with his feet, and it just all he needed to do was one hitch. Set his feet, deliver a throw, deliver a strike. Brock, he catches that pass. He has room to get at least 5 to 7 more yards. And if he could break a tackle, go for even further. But he doesn't set his feet. He's trying to throw that ball on the run with all arm, and it's just unnecessary at that point because the pocket was good right there. It's there was no reason for him to throw it like that. And all he had to do was just set your feet, bro. Just set your feet and make the pass. And it is just he overthrew him. So that was just That's just unacceptable play. That's unacceptable play too. It wasn't a turnover, and I can deal with misses, right? If you miss a pass here or there, I can deal with that, bro. But when you're missing passes and you're turning the ball over, it's just like, bro, like we can't have that, man. We cannot have that.
No, facts. And you know what? The way I look at Minshew, man, he is what he is. You know, I'm not projecting him. I'm like, oh, he's gonna get better. This is just part of who Minshew is. You know what I mean? He's not the biggest guy. You know what I mean? His accuracy comes and goes. It's just, you know, like that's just his game. And the more I think about it, like this is the guy that won the last game in Oakland. He won the last game in Oakland, man. How did Derek Carr let that happen, man? That's shame, man. That is disgusting. How did Derek Carr let that happen? He let this guy beat
last year.
Say that again.
He eliminated us from playoff contention last year when the coach beat us. So, you know.
Yeah, man, that's terrible. But you know what? I just think at this point we should, in my opinion, I think we should probably go with a quarterback change. Just change it up. And if Aiden struggles, guess what? We'll go back to Minshew. Minshew struggles. That's the state of the Raiders quarterback situation right now. It is what it is. I think the Raiders are probably better off going with AOC just because it's his second year in the league. Let him get some experience. Let it get out the way. The Raiders quarterback is not on this team. It's going to be in the draft.
Yeah.
Just roll with the younger guy. I mean, not by a lot. He's 26, but as far as his experience, let him get that experience. And hey, man, just roll with AOC. And if whatever reason he struggles, Raiders get down, Minshew can come in and do what he want to do. But I think at this point, Minshew he's a backup player. I'm not. The crazy thing is, Severe, and we gotta talk about the defense real quick before we move on. Is like, is this part of the plan? Because there's no way that the Raiders thought that AOC and Minshew were good enough to win games. Like, we all seen it. We're like, I don't know if AOC. And then you signed Minshew to a contract. Y'all thought that was like, was this part of the plan? Like, hey, look, you know what? They felt like they're not going to get their quarterback this year. Were they trying to? I don't want to say they were trying to tank the season before it even started. But I know Pierce wouldn't want to do that because I know his job is on the line. All these guys' job on the line. But it just seems like there's no way they believe that Minshew and AOC were going to be the answer at quarterback. Do you think this is part of a bigger plan?
Nah, man. I think the plan was Jaden Daniels. The backup plan was Michael Penix, and we didn't have the ammunition to get get either one of those guys. I don't think there was any illusions that about Gardner Minshew or about Aiden O'Connell being the guy for this team. I think everybody in the building kind of knew that they weren't the guy, and now we're kind of stuck. I mean, remember, Antonio Pierce kept saying that there wasn't going to be a Band-Aid at the position. We talked about that before. We talked about it when he was talking about, potential options at quarterback. He said, hey, you know what? We got free agency and we have the draft. And worst case scenario, Aiden O'Connell. Like when you're back down to your worst case scenario, that means everything else failed. That means that was the last thing you wanted to do, and that's where you're at. So I don't even think they expected Gardner Minshew to win the job. I think they just brought Gardner Minshew in to be a competent backup, and they were hoping that Aiden would take the next step, and Aiden just never took that next step. And I think they drugged that competition out as long as they could. And Antonio Pierce kept saying, and I know he was kind of saying it to both guys, but I think it was him saying it specifically leaked to Aiden, like, hey, why haven't you named a quarterback yet? I'm waiting for somebody to separate themselves. I'm waiting for somebody to show me that it's their job. I'm waiting for somebody to take the job. And he was saying it to both guys, but essentially he was saying it to Aiden. And Aiden never did it. And it got to a point where it's like, I got to go with the guy that finished by a nose. And the guy that won the competition by a nose was Aiden O'Connell in their eyes. So, now they're going back to the worst case scenario again, which is Aiden O'Connell. So we're just in a bad spot, man. And it's like, I know everybody is against tanking, but the way things are working themselves out, we don't have to tank. We're just a naturally bad team. I I said it to my guy Chris. This is organic tanking, right? We just suck, right? We just already suck. So we don't have to do any tanking. We don't have to do no funny stuff. We don't have to do weird substitutions. We just suck. We just suck, and we're hurt. So we're going to be a bad team anyway, and we're going to be in position to draft the quarterback of the future in this next upcoming draft. So, and I don't care how well Aiden plays. If he plays lights out for the rest of the season, I'm drafting the quarterback in the first round. I don't care if Aiden starts this next game, lays an egg, and then Gardner comes in and he plays lights out for the rest of the season. I'm drafting the quarterback in the first round next year. I'm getting tired of these stop gaps, these half measures, these band-aids, these journeymans, these reclamation projects, these builder quarterbacks that we keep doing. Stop it.
Right.
Get a guy that's going to be your franchise guy and go from there.
Yeah. Well, there's going to be a lot to figure out as far as, hey, is Getsy the right guy at OC? Is he the guy that you want, developing the next quarterback? I mean, it's still a long season. We'll see where it goes. I feel like Getsy is kind of the least of our problems. I don't think last couple of weeks, I feel like Getsy hasn't been an issue. I felt like the bigger issue has been if you just get on the players, and that's pretty much the theme of what we're talking about is like, Minshew's not getting it done. Offensive line has gotten better, but is it enough? And we'll get into the defense real quick. And I guess some people in the chat, man, shout out to Rob of Sin City and Rambo Adventures. They're talking about Tom Telesco and how much input he has on the team. And let's go with what Rambo says here. I said weeks ago that Telesco is rebuilding this team. It was obvious when not one of his 6 defensive starter free agents after this year were extended. He also was trading DA anyway, was not giving him bank. Hey, man, you might have a point there. I mean, he is a new GM. This is not his team. He's going to want to build his team the way he sees fit. And some of the players are not some. All the players are from the previous regime, including Davante. So I will say this on just going back to the Davante real quick situation. That's where I feel like the Raiders kind of messed up. I feel like they should have probably just took care of that situation. If they knew that he was not going to be part of the plans move, they should have never went into the season with him. Because at the end of the day, like, come on, like they should have traded him before the season, before it came into. And I'm not taking any responsibility away from Davante, and we'll get into Davante a little later in the show. But I just felt like the Raiders, they should have traded him, a lot sooner, especially if the reports were true that Davante's team, went to the Raiders and offered him or talked about a change of scenery. That should have been a sign of like, hey, this guy is not fully bought in. But, it is what it is. Davante is a great player. I'm sure the Raiders didn't want to lose him. But, at the end of the day, like, sometimes you got to read between the lines. If you don't have a quarterback and you're a highly paid number 1 talented receiver, that's just not a good mix. And, that there's that. But, Rambo, I appreciate the comment here, man. But let's get into the defense real quick, man, before we move it along, man. Because the defense, I feel like, has been an issue. Give me 1 second here. I don't know what I just did. All right, there we go. The defense started the game off well, just like the offense, but like we talked about, like after that interception, it literally, the momentum changed. The tackling was an issue. The Broncos were able to get their run game going. It just, and let's talk about the defense so far this season. I mean, it's kind of been, it's been an issue. We thought that this defense was going to be the strength of this team. We thought this defense was going to be top 5, top 10. We were talking all that, but this entire season, it's been a disappointment and a lot. And if we're being, we gotta be fully transparent here. The Raiders are dealing with a lot of injuries from Kuntz. Obviously, Max Crosby's missed games, and now we find out that Christian Wilkins just recently had surgery of Jones fracture, I believe was what the injury is. And from what I'm hearing, that's an injury where there's a long recovery time, which is not that's not good news, especially for a big guy like Christian Wilkins. That's tough to hear, but he's going to be out for the season. At least I don't foresee him coming back this season, but he's going to IR. I don't think he's coming back, so he's out for the season. He's gone. But that's tough, man. Christian Wilkins, and he was playing well too. I think he had a sack last game. He has a tackle for a loss in the game too as well. He was making plays. Oh man, the Raiders. But hey, that's part of the game though. The Raider, it's part of the game. That's why the good teams have depth. So hopefully the Raiders could build a team with a lot of depth. But that you can't go into the season just relying on their top end players. You got to have some players that can come in and contribute. But if you want to, real quick, Severe, if you want to just speak to the Raiders defense to start the season and this game.
I think the defense has been underwhelming. That they have not been playing up to par. I think they've been playing well in spots. We look at what we were able to do to Justin Herbert that first game, but J.K. Dobbins killed us, mainly off, some pretty big runs. And then we held Lamar Jackson in check. And, for the most part, we kept Derrick Henry from going too crazy. And then the wheels just kind of fell off against Carolina, where, Andy Dalton went out there and he carved us up like he was Joe Burrow or somebody out there, So Deontay Johnson was looking like, Steve Smith Sr. out there. Like it all went down from there. And it's part of it is the injuries. You lose a guy like Malcolm Kuntz, who was, essentially like that was the ignition for our defense toward the back half of last year, right? Like his emergence is what kind of set us on that track to being the top defense in the league, because you had him and Max as bookends, rushing the passer, and they both were like, according to all the advanced statistics, like top 10 pass rushers in the league. So when you lose a top 10 pass rusher from your team, and your backup is, like and not really Tyree Wilson, because he's not even starting, right? Like Loki's like Snowden and Janarius is getting more run out there than him, so that tells you a lot right there. And then I know a lot of people want to hate on Devon Diablo, but like look at our linebacker play since Devon Diablo has been out, and what does that tell you? It tells you he's a valuable member of this team. Now, part of his problem is that he's always hurt, so that's an issue in and of itself. And then you lose Marcus Epps, who is the key communicator in the secondary, and you see this past game, right? Like there are several instances where there were some mix-ups in coverage, like most notably the situation where Troy Franklin was pretty much left all by himself and just dropped a would-be touchdown pass. So and then the offense hasn't done this team any favors either. Like they're constantly putting the defense in bad situations. You look at 14 of those points scored by the Broncos were the direct result of the offense, right? You had the pick six by Gardner Minshew, and then on his fourth throw of the game, Aiden O'Connell makes an ill-advised throw to Brock Bowers. It gets tipped in the air. Patrick Surtain catches that one, and then on the very next drive, they're already deep in their own in Raiders territory at that point, and the Broncos scoring that drive. So that's 14 points. That's not on the defense. That's 14 points. That's on the offense. So the offense isn't doing these guys any favors. So
it's true.
It's just a bad situation.
But I go back to what our expectation was to start the season, was the fact that they were going to be a top 5, top 10 defense. And to let y'all know, we can talk about how the offense is failing the defense, but top 5, top 10 defenses overcome that. Top 10, top 5 defenses, special defenses, they can keep you in games. They can make it a game. They can win you some games, because that's what top 10, top 10, top 5 defenses do. Now, that being said, I'm not taking any responsibility away from the offense. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying the injuries have been an issue. Obviously, now, like with Christian Wilkins out, we got someone from the interior got to step up. Adam Butler has to step up. John Jenkins got to step up. Tyree Wilson. Everybody, I think a guy that I think they picked up in a trade from the Colts, who
Lalu.
Pierce,
Lalu. Yeah,
the Raiders.
He played last game. Yeah, whatever.
It's but it's not going to be Christian Wilkins, but those guys got to step up, at the end of the day. So we'll see. It's definitely been a tough season so far, but the Raiders are 2-3. it's still early in the season, and it almost feels like it's been a roller coaster ride. But it's the first quarter of the season, and usually the first quarter, you kind of have a good idea of what the team is going to be for the rest of the season. Like the Raiders are 2-3. Hopefully they can bounce back. They got the Steelers this week. We'll get into that. But before we move along, man,
that's the problem. Is like that was the healthiest version of this team. This team is even more banged up now than it was before, and Davante is going to probably be gone. So, like whatever we saw in this first quarter, first 5 games, it's going to get worse than this. And we're going to enter into the more difficult part of our schedule too. So, it's like,
yeah, no facts, 100%. I'm with you, bro. Like it's going to get tough. So the Raiders are going to have to get their act together. They're going to have to figure out a way to overcome some of the things that they've been dealing with, because it's not going to get any easier from here on out. So, and the Steelers are not a team that we could, the Steelers are in town now. This is a good team. I think they started the season 4-1. They're 3-2, or I believe. I think they're 3-2. Are they 4-1?
I think they're
3-2, 4-1. Either way, it's going to be a Mike Tomlin coach team. It's going to be a tough physical game. Yeah. It's going to be a tough game, man. It's going to be a tough game. But Raiders, if they're a team that likes to bounce back. If we've known anything from any Antonio Pierce coach team is that they find a way to like bounce back. But real quick, man, Raider Smoke in the building. Appreciate the super chat. He says, "What's up with the Cuddies?" He says, "Everyone, say it with me. 1, 2, 3, Cancun." Oh man, Smoke always with the jokes, man. Trying to be optimistic though. DA got traded. Now for real, I had me tripping too. He made it seem like it was official and everything, and I see him in the chat responding like, "Oh yeah, it was for a second." Man, that's top level trolling right there, man. And he had the Raider. He had grumpy one.
He had the angry face.
Yeah, man,
angry face
on,
afterwards. Man. Oh, Davante just got traded. Angry face.
That was professional level trolling right there, man. We had to stop the show and everything to double check on that. But appreciate the super chat as always, the support. Let's get into the chat real quick, man, before we move it along. Man, we got people coming through left and right. Raiders Ant 112 says, "Do you think 9 games is enough to say someone isn't a starter? How many great QBs had losing records to start their career? O'Connell is 5-4. How about we develop a QB and build around him?" Come on, bro. Look. You're gonna get. I feel like, to be honest with you, I don't even like how the Raiders are handling it. Because from what I'm, from what I'm hearing,
I said, bro. That's what I mean. Like they,
Severe's gonna have a meltdown. But real quick. Look, at the end of the day, you're gonna probably get your wish. I think AOC is gonna get some starts this season, but it just sounds like, I don't know. It sounds like Pierce doesn't want it to happen, because if you heard him on Monday talking about AOC, he was like, "Hey, at this point, we know what AOC is. We know what to expect from him. You know what I mean? We've seen him last year. We've seen him." It just seems like it don't seem like a vote of confidence. It don't seem like they're confident in putting AOC in the game. And then even the way they're approaching the possible quarterback change. Oh, it's going to be a battle for reps this week. Nah, I don't believe in that. You just choose. Just stand by whatever change. If it's going to be Minshew, you give them the majority of reps. If it's going to be AOC, give them the majority of reps, because they have to get ready for the game. I don't think it really helps them by splitting the reps during the week, like a quarterback battle during the week. But that's the state of the Raiders quarterback situation. But still, I just don't agree with that move, and I don't know who is leading the way on that. Is that Pierce? Because Pierce has made some mistakes, man. I'm not gonna lie. He hasn't been perfect. Even though I think a lot of this, and that's another thing we got to talk about too. We'll probably talk about that in a little bit. But do you agree with the quarterback battle during a week before the game?
No, but that just tells you, bro. Like that tells you what. Like Antonio Pierce had Aiden O'Connell last year. He had Aiden O'Connell this entire offseason. He's had Aiden O'Connell the first 5 games of this season. He's seen Gardner Minshew not really play that great, have more turnovers and touchdowns, make these mental lapses, and he's still like, but you know what? I don't really want to go. Like, that should tell you everything you need to know. Like, why are these people grasping at these straws, bro? Is 9 games enough? Yes. This is not 1999 no more, bro. These young quarterbacks are not taking forever to develop, right? We saw Caleb struggle his first 2 games. What has he done the last 2 games? We saw Jaden Daniels already MVP candidate. We saw what CJ Stroud did last year. We saw Bryce Young struggle last year. And guess what? Bryce Young struggled this year because at this point, these guys are playing this position their entire lives. This is not a situation anymore like back in the day where they're not getting this training and this coaching. Aiden O'Connell was in college for like 10 years, bro. Like, this is like he's had a lot of time to learn how to play the position. He's 26 years old. Guess what? He's 2 years older than Malik Willis. Right? Mm-hmm. Right? Like, he's only a year younger than Lamar Jackson, who already has 2 MVPs. Like, this is not the situation no more where you take forever to develop a guy. It's not the same league no more. These guys come in, if they can play, they can play. And he cannot play. But neither can Gardner Minshew. So it's like they're between a rock and a hard place because both these guys are terrible. It's just different it's just different flavors of bad. Like, do you want this bad, inaccurate guy that, that's going to turn the ball over? Or do you want the slow-footed guy with no mobility that's going to turn the ball over? Like, pick your poison. You're going to die either way.
Yeah, hey, look, man. Hey, but shout out to Raider Ant, man. I appreciate it. I understand. I think he's just trying to find some hope. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's what it is, bro. I'm going to give him benefit of the doubt. I think he's just trying to figure out a way to get the Raiders winning again. Because I could understand with this question. He's like, hey, why don't we find a way to build? Look, it's not AOC. The Raiders quarterback of the future. The Raiders quarterback of the future is in the draft. I'm going to stand by it. Before the season is well documented, we talked about, like, hey, why don't we trade for Hendon Hooker? Or, hey, why don't we trade for Malik Willis? Oh, hey, why don't we trade for this quarterback? We did this literally entire offseason up until the start of the season until we were like, you know what? It's too late. The Raiders are going to move forward with Minshew and AOC. And now we're seeing it play out. And it's to the point, like, we're seeing it play out, and I'm just questioning, like, hey, look, is this part of the plan? Is there a bigger plan? Because there's no way that Antonio Pierce and Telesco are like, hey, you know what? This is good enough to win some games. There's no way. There's no way. I'm just trying to put it out there because if they feel like this is good enough to win games, then I'm not sure if we should trust them for future decisions. Because if they thought AOC and Minshew were going to get it done. Hey, but shout out to Ultimate Raider Fan 32, Turf in the building, man. Appreciate you coming through, my guy,
Turf.
man.
Yeah, man. Make sure y'all subscribe, man. Like, look, y'all done turned Pharaoh into a conspiracy theorist. We so bad that Pharaoh's like, bro, this shit got to be on purpose.
Hey, I've always been a conspiracy. Hey, look, I'm a conspiracy theorist to a certain extent, but I'm always like looking at it from a perspective of like, nothing you see is what it is. Like, there's a deeper meaning to whatever. Like the Raiders are not going to tell you everything that's going on in the building. They're not going to tell you, just because they want to keep their drama off of whatever. You know what I mean? They're like, I've talked to certain people and they've told me that's been close to the team in the past, and the stuff that I would hear, I'm like, damn, like that happened. That's crazy. I'm not going to get into every little detail, but a lot of the stuff that that happens with teams and NFL teams, it doesn't really reach. You'll be surprised how much stuff doesn't reach like the media and social media and all the crazy stuff that happens with teams. So, look, at the end of the day, I'm looking at it from I'm looking at Minshew and AOC, and I'm like, how did the Raiders think that this was good enough? And this is where I'm going to give Davante Adams the only. I agree with him on one point. Is like, he had to go. It's not a good fit. It wasn't a great fit. Like, I understand why he wants to leave the Raiders. I just don't agree with how he did it. That's my thing. I didn't agree with him just coming into the season and, basically lying. He was caught lying, and we'll get into that lie a little bit later. But yeah, man, we got Jets fan over here. Please be true, man. Y'all just fired your head coach, man. Y'all still want.
And Aaron Rodgers went out there and threw 3 interceptions himself. So it's like he had 3 picks. His last pick was a little bit different than Minshew's, but it's one of those situations where I'm an Occam Razor's guy. The simplest explanation is usually the correct one, and that is these dudes thought we was gonna get a quarterback in the draft, and it didn't happen, and then they was left holding the bag.
My guy, Raider spoke with another super chat. He says, Raider Ant-Man respectfully snap out of it. Nah, man. Hey, salute to Raider Ant-Man. I think he just wants the Raiders to win. I could just tell that's his whole – because he's like over here talking about like, hey, maybe they can build around him. Nah, look, the Raiders will have what? It's what, 5? We're 5 games into the season. There's 12 games. AOC is going to come in for a big portion of those games, or I don't know. The way Pierce is talking, I'm not sure if he even wants him out there over Minshew. So we'll see. But
look. I made the assumption. That it's because he thinks Aiden is a bad player, and that was wrong on my part. It could be a situation where he wants to protect Aiden from taking the kind of beating that he believes she's going to take behind this offensive line. That could be an explanation as well, just to play, just to be completely honest, because we see every time Aiden gets in, he takes sacks. Like he took a sack last game, and we see him like running for his life, and he's not the fleetest of foot. So, he's trying to escape out the back door and, get rid of the ball. But maybe Antonio Pierce is like, look, this guy, he has maybe some, and he talks about how he's kind of a timid guy. So maybe thinks his confidence is a little more fragile. He's already not quite as vocal. So he's like, let me protect him in this situation and not let him take the kind of beating I think he will take. And if we get the offensive line situated, in the offseason or whatever, then he'll have a more legitimate chance to be productive. So maybe it's a situation like that. I assumed it was because he didn't think he's good, but maybe it's a situation where he's like, look, I need to protect this young man. I don't want him out here taking this kind of beating that could destroy him for the rest of his career. Gardner Minshew, he's a guy that's been in the league. He can handle that kind of stuff. I don't think Aiden can handle it. Maybe it's that.
Yeah. Like this is the type of team, like when you have Minshew and AOC as your starting quarterbacks, you got to have a Hall of Fame running back, man. You got to have like the cleanest running back. You got to have a Derrick Henry back there, but we don't have that. You know what I mean? We don't have that. We thought we would have a solid running game, but it's kind of been a slow start to the season, but it's gotten better the last couple of weeks. So hopefully with Zamir possibly coming back, we'll see. We'll see against the Steelers. It's gonna be a tough game, but hopefully they can get it going at home. Trap God in the building, man, says, hey, throw in AOC. If it crash and burn, let it. It's not like we tank it on purpose. We just don't have a good QB at the end of the day. And hopefully we can. Yeah, look, the way I look at it is like throwing AOC. He's a young guy, but more so his experience, because like Severe pointed out, he's 26 years old, and Minshew's 28. But as far as experience, is his second year in the league. So hey, maybe he can get better. Maybe he could be a future backup QB for the Raiders, because he's definitely not going to be the franchise guy. I'm telling you right now, that guy is going to be hopefully in the quarterback in the upcoming draft if the Raiders can make the right moves and get that quarterback of the future. So I think it's a win-win putting no AOC. And if Antonio Pierce is frustrated with what AOC is doing, guess who's right behind him? Hey, Minshew's going to come into the game, and he's used to that. Minshew is used to that, man. But let's move it along, man. It's that time, man. It is that time, man. It's flag on the play.
He was giving them the business.
Man, so Severe, if you wanna start it up, man, by bringing up the first flag on the play, real quick.
So
pull this up.
So we got we were on with George Pickens. We got the Cowboys and the Steelers. They played a game. I believe it was Sunday Night Football. Actually, the game ended up getting delayed. And and it's had a real late start. The Steelers were winning for much of that game, and then Dak does what a franchise quarterback does, and he brings the team back, and they win the game. But at one point in the game, George Pickens had a little bit of a testy interaction with a player from the Cowboys, and he did something that's going to probably result in the fine and possibly a suspension.
So here's what he's talking about here. What Severe's talking about. Let's go ahead and.
Dallas and the Cowboys win. Pickens will get a flag. Dallas and the Cowboys win. Pickens will get a.
So he's definitely frustrated what happened, man. Definitely flag on a play, and it was literally a flag on the play. Like, he literally got flagged right after he did that. George Pickens obviously was frustrated, and off topic, but Steelers might be a potential trade candidate, for Davante Adams, because they obviously were looking into trading for Brandon Ayuk before the season. Maybe Davante goes to that team, because obviously they're a team that's probably going to be up there as far as fighting for a playoff spot. And adding a Davante Adams to that team could, maybe take that offense to another level with Jordan, when you have Pickens on the other side. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. That might be possible. But yeah, definitely flag on a play on Pickens. He literally just grabbed his face mask and threw it to the ground. And he did it so casually too.
Yeah.
He had no fear at all, bro.
Like, the game over, bro. Y'all lost. Take your L like a man at that point. It was a done data.
Yeah, definitely, man. So that's definitely flag on the play. But the second flag on the play.
I know, but just a quick note on that one. I do believe. I think I was the only person to pick the Cowboys, but we'll talk about that on the round of shit. I think I was the only person to pick the Cowboys. We'll talk about that another day.
I knew this was coming, man. I knew this is coming, man. Man, I had the worst.
I know what my record is. I don't even know what my record is, but I'm pretty sure I'm in first.
Oh, man, he's talking a whole lot of mess. Yeah, my record is terrible. Like, a lot of division games, a lot of close games, but damn, it was terrible. But definitely tune in for Around the Shield. We do weekly game picks. We started last week, so tune in this Friday, and we'll get into the results of our game picks last week. And I'm just letting y'all know, man, it wasn't all good for me. It's a tough week for the Raiders, a tough week for me as far as game picks. But Severe, you did your thing. Okay, shout out to Severe. He did his thing, bro. So, well,
shout out to the Cardinals. Shout out to the Cardinals coming through for you, boy.
What's funny? When you picked the Cardinals, that's all I was like, oh, okay, he be knowing, bro. He be knowing, because Cardinals, obviously a divisional team. They always for some reason, they always play the 49ers well. It's just one of those. It's a division game, and hey, man, you had old boy throwing a peace sign literally at the 30 or 40 yard line, and
Kyler Murray clowning, bro. Woo. That's a quarterback too, bro. That's how he got wheels.
Yeah,
because he was like, dude.
yeah,
and got on, man. So
if y'all don't know, we were talking about the quarterback for the Cardinals. Kyle Murray, he went ahead and had a long touchdown run, and literally as soon as he passed the line of scrimmage, he was at the 30-40 yard line. He put up the peace sign and literally just took it all the way for touchdown. I mean, he did it right at the line of scrimmage. He knew it was gonna be a touchdown, which is crazy. But
he already knew. He ain't nobody about to catch me.
Yeah. But let's move it along, man, to the second flag on the play, man. And we kind of talked about it beginning of the show. We talked about, Minshew's performance at quarterback, man. He threw one, not two, but he had 3 picks. Three picks last game. And man, when it rains, it pours, man. Minshew out here.
Censor it, man. Don't protect this man from this. Do not protect this man from this.
Hey, man, Minshew, man, had a terrible game on the field and off the field, man. He struggled. He was caught picking his nose, and
Man.
eating his booger, man. That is disgusting.
That is terrible, bro. You a grown man, bro.
And this alone might lead to his benching. I think this right
Bro.
here.
That's how you lose. That's how you lose the locker room. That's how you lose the locker room for real.
Come on, man. How do you let this happen, man? But he definitely had a tough game all the way around. But yeah, definitely a flag on a play, man. You can't have a bad game like that and then get caught picking your nose and eating it, man. That's a terrible combination. Definitely terrible combination.
Everybody trying to catch no passes from you now, bro. You got boogers and shit on the football. Boogers on the football, dog. Like, come on, man.
Oh man, I know they're clowning in the locker room. I'm sure, like this type of stuff gets around the locker room, and they're definitely probably making fun of him right now. But it is what it is, man. Flag on a play on Minshew. But last but not least, we did have a Jets fan in the chat talking about they're hoping for a trade for Davante. But man, I don't know if it happens now with. I heard that the trade discussions are still moving forward, but it's going to be interesting if Davante still wants to go to a team which just fired their head coach. If you guys don't know, the Jets fired former head coach now former head coach Robert Saleh earlier today, and man, it's kind of dysfunctional because let me go ahead and put this on the screen because it sounded like Robert Saleh was on his way to demote the offense coordinator Nathaniel Hackett. If you guys remember Nathaniel Hackett, he was former head coach of the Broncos. You already know that offense was terrible with Russell Wilson, and he's the OC for the Jets. And Jets offense is kind of questionable. But I put most of the blame on Aaron Rodgers because that's your guy. You know what I mean? The reason why he's there is because you want him there, and that's why they would get him there. And I could put this on the screen here so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Here, let me put this out the way here. So you see break-in, former Jets coach Robert Saleh this morning decided to...
Oh, no, never mind. That changes everything. That changes everything.
Yeah.
He was about to give play calling to Ty Downing. Oh, bro, that's probably like... And I was like, get your ass out here. Get your ass out here. You was going to do what? I was like, bro, you got to go. You guys to go.
Oh man, that is hilarious because Ty Downing was terrible when he became OC for the Raiders back in 2017, I believe. Terrible. And shout out to any Titans fans too, because I got a close friend that's a Titans fan. He probably in the chat, I don't know, but I told him that Ty Downing is terrible, man. He was terrible, and he was terrible with the Titans, and he told me like, hey, bro, you were right about this dude Ty Downing. And they had to take over play calling duties at one point, and that's a whole thing. You know what I mean? I don't know. He's might be a good. Sometimes positional coaches are good at just being positional coaches. Being a play caller is not for everybody, and that's hella funny that you caught that though, Ty Downing. And then
it was like, bro.
That changes everything up. 5 minutes later, look. This is how dysfunctional. They know the time. Look, 5 minutes later, Robert Saleh was fired.
That's crazy, bro.
But yeah,
That's
as soon
crazy.
as they found out that he was going to demote Nathaniel Hackett for Ty Downing, he was fired. But either way, I think that they just didn't agree with the move. I'm sure like Aaron Rodgers probably didn't agree with the move.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? Nathaniel Hackett is an Aaron Rodgers guy, so I'm sure they're like, you know what? We want Aaron Rodgers longer than we want you, so we're gonna fire you. Next thing you know it, Jeff Ulbrich, former linebacker. All these former linebackers are becoming head coaches, but Jeff Ulbrich is a former 49ers linebacker all those years, is now the head coach, the interim head coach for the Jets. So we'll see if Davante still want to go there, and then we'll see if the Jets still trade for Davante. We'll figure it out. But definitely flag on the play. I feel like, Saleh, I don't think he deserved to be fired. I feel like the defense was pretty good. Offensively was where the struggles were. And if you're going to, I mean, he was there for like what, how many years, Saleh? I think maybe it was 2-3 years.
4. I think this is for year 4. I want to say this is year 4. But in the time he's been there, I want to say his defense is like top 3 in just about like all the most important categories, like scoring, yards per play, like efficiency, all that stuff. His defense is top 3 in all those categories. So it's been the issue of the offense has been a problem, and it started with Zach Wilson, and it continues with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely flag on the play. I didn't agree with them firing Robert Saleh, but it smells like, it seems like Aaron Rodgers had a big influence of him getting fired. Because if you guys remember, like earlier this season, I think you sent me the clip of, Aaron Rodgers coming off the football field, and you could see Robert Saleh trying to embrace him, and he just kind of gave him that shove, and said something. I don't know if he said something slick to him or whatever, but it just didn't look right on camera. It seemed like their relationship kind of was getting worse by the day. But I'm not a big Jets fan. I'm sure they know more about their team and what was going on. But just from the outside looking at it, just didn't look right. A lot of the Jets are dysfunctional too, so that might be a perfect situation for Davante. He wants to go out there to the East Coast to all that dysfunction.
That cold weather, that New York media, them high taxes. Go ahead, send him there.
Oh my God, the New York media they're gonna destroy him.
Destroy Davante. He played in Green Bay and Las Vegas, bro. Wait till he gets to he's not gonna be able to put that slick stuff over there, bro, because they not gonna have it. He went to college at Fresno, small market. Yeah. Played most of his career in Green Bay, small market, and then went to Vegas, which is still a small market. It's like, bro, you go to New York, it's a whole different ball game out there.
Yeah. But yeah, that wraps up flag on the play, man. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We're going live on both our channels, so make sure you head over there. And hey, shout out, man. I just want to say this, man. Shout out to Severe Raider for getting monetized, man.
Appreciate it, man.
My guy, man, doing his thing, man. Shout out to the chat, man. Appreciate the support. My guy was officially able to get the monetization, man. So make sure to go head over to his channel and support my guy. And let's get right into the chat, man. Super Omnicron. A-Rod pushed Saleh. Saleh got him fired and threw 3 interceptions. That line just,
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
Nah, man, it's dysfunction over there, man. I think maybe Aaron Rodgers might have too much power over there, and it's causing a lot of issues.
That's the thing, though. If Aaron Rodgers has that much power, that may make it. They might make it. I didn't think it was my thought was that Aaron Rodgers, he really don't have no power because he's not playing well. But if he had the kind of pull to get Saleh fired, then he probably got the kind of pull to make them pull the trigger on a 2nd-round pick to get Davante, man. But honestly, if we do, I want that 2nd-round pick. But man, if we can't get a second, I wouldn't mind trading them to the Saints, man. If we can get, even though we got to play them later on, if we can get, they might not give up Chris Olave, but if we can get Rashid Shaheed, either one of those guys, Olave or Shaheed. Olave don't like Carr. That's pretty clear. Olave do not like Carr at all. That's obvious. You've been since last year. Every chance you get, he been on Carr head. So maybe he might want to get up out of there. And so they have 2 really good receivers in Shaheed and Olave. So if they want to move on from Olave, I wouldn't be mad at that.
Yeah, I just, I think that's wishful thinking. I think at the end of the day, I don't think any team is in the business of selling off their most talented young piece that's on a cheap deal. I don't think no team is in the business of doing that unless that young player is crazy, wild on some Antonio Brown type shit, or they just can't handle the situation. If we're being honest, I wish. Yeah, George Pickens might be. I don't know, man. I don't want. I'm tired of the dysfunctional player. I don't want the Antonio Browns, man. I don't want the talent. Yes, I want the talented players, but I just don't want the drama that comes with some of these players. But shout out to Die Hard Raider, man. He says Adams isn't in the wrong here. If I was Adams, I would want out too. Adams came under the pretense that Carr was his QB, not Jimmy G or Minshew, who are in the same QB. See, that's not the argument here. That's not what we disagree with. Look, I agree. I feel like the Raiders, the Raiders did Davante's a disservice and not get him a good QB for him to catch passes from. I mean, at the end of the day, Jimmy G's not good enough, Minshew's not good enough, AOC's not good enough, and Carr didn't get it.
But peep this though. You got to read between what people are saying. Look who he mentioned. He says Carr was his QB, right? He says not Jimmy G or Minshew. Who didn't he mention was not good enough to be his QB though?
Oh, Derek Carr.
No, he didn't mention Aiden O'Connell was good enough. But he let.
Oh, he meant. I mean, you think this is another AOC?
This for sure is. Oh man,
hey man, hey, you're hilarious, bro. But nah, look, Die Hard, man. Look, I agree. Raiders didn't do him any favors by getting him a quarterback. That being said, what we are disagreeing is how Adam is handling the situation. If he didn't want to be there, he could have requested to be traded during the offseason, and the Raiders could have traded him then. No drama, no harm, no foul. It is what it is. We understand. Then we would get on the Raiders on why they didn't get him the quarterback. But instead, we got to talk about what? Him going on the show, lying, and to come to find out that he requested a trade. And we'll get into that. And just stay tuned. Stay tuned, Die Hard Raider. We're going to play a notable quotable. Shout out to Jay Glazer. We're going to play a clip where he gets into the nitty-gritty details of what happened that Monday when Davante requested a trade. So, and mind you, he went on the next day. He goes on the Kay Adams show, saying that he doesn't know. He hasn't talked to AP. He doesn't know where this is coming from. All the noise is not coming from me. It's coming from the outside. And we're gonna play that clip in a second, man. But shout out to you, man. But Adams, he's not wrong for wanting to leave, but I think he's wrong on how he's handling the situation, in my opinion.
No, I mean I completely agree. And if Derek Carr was a guy he wanted to play with, and he knew this offseason, right, that he wasn't going to have Carr, you probably weren't going to be able to get a guy in the draft. Hey, let your feelings be known at that point, right? Because I've said all along, like and we speculated before, Davante's timeline doesn't really line up with the timeline of this team, right? Look at the core of this team. They're all fairly young guys, and Davante he's an older guy. He's closer to the end of his career than the beginning, much closer, right? I talked about Calvin Johnson, right? Calvin Johnson retired at 30. Davante about to be 32. So, like, you think about how long Calvin Johnson played, or how dominant he was in his time, and Davante's played longer than even him. So he's near the end of it. So he wants to win. He's expressed that before. So if he would express that to us, let us get you up out of here, bro. I'm sure if we would have had the opportunity, and the Jets, I'm sure they probably would have taken him at that point, right, for a second, maybe even a first at that point. So, and so I think the Raiders screwed up, and I think Davante just didn't keep it 100.
Man, so hey, man, shout out to Severe for getting monetized. I believe he's getting one of his first super chats here. Shout out to Myra in the building. She says, "Congrats, Severe. I like to order a shirt. Can you please smile with some?"
My first super chat, thank you.
Oh man, Myra, you're hilarious. I'm just gonna leave it at that, man. Appreciate the support. Appreciate the super chat. Daniel Kim in the building, man. Appreciate the super chat, man. My God, man. He says, "Congrats, Severe. It's just the beginning." Yeah, facts, 100%. And then we got Smoke, man, with another super chat, man. Appreciate the support. Salah can always go back to acting. He did a hell of a job in 300.
Xerxes. Robert Salah, Xerxes. That is comedy, bro. We gotta do a side by side with Salah and Xerxes, bro. You gotta put that in the community tab, bro. That's definitely a community tab.
No, we
put that comment up to it.
All right, we gonna have to make that happen, man. That's funny. That's funny. He did a hell of a job on 300. Side note, we had high hopes in Labe, and he's been up. Hey, you know what? I'm not sure if Labe has won the coaches over. I don't know if they trust him to come into the game, and I don't know. He's getting the rookie treatment for sure. He's getting the rookie treatment,
for sure,
no doubt.
But
what grade?
Amir Abdullah just went for 40, so shit. Like,
say that again.
So Amir Abdullah took that carry for 40 yards, so I can't be too mad at him if he's producing like that.
That's true. But real quick, he's asking, what grade would you give Telesco so far this season?
Man, you know what? He's going to get a C. It'd be a much higher grade just because I mean the Brock Bowers pick is an excellent pick. I was critical of that pick, but I was dead ass wrong about that one. That's a great pick, especially considering all the other stuff we were still able to get, because Jacorian is turned into a guy and Glaze has turned into a solid option at right tackle. So those are kind of other options we would have had. So the only other direction to go in the first round would have been a quarterback, and we obviously couldn't go there. He's still getting knocked off for the Eichenberg pick though, for sure. But the fact that he didn't get it do more to secure a quarterback, or at least somebody better than Minshew, or somebody better than Aiden O'Connell, he's getting a C just for that, because that's such a glaring need on this team that you can't ignore that. But for his draft, yeah, man, like he gets infinite props for his draft. Just like we got JPJ, looks like he's gonna be a stud. Brock Bowers already is a stud. DeCamerion Richardson was producing pretty well before he got hurt. Glaze has been starting. He's had some struggles, but I think he's going to develop into a guy. We all had high hopes for Dylan Lobby, so we'll see. Eichenberg is a bum, but this neither here nor there. And and we're hoping Trey Taylor. We're hoping Trey Taylor something too. So so his draft was good. So it's just the quarterback that's holding him back, in my opinion. It's not addressing that.
Man, you're being nice, bro. C- D plus, man. I give him props for the draft to a certain extent. But that being said, man, just how he handled the quarterback situation, it's so bad that it's affecting our season, and that's the most important position. And I understand we didn't get the quarterback in the draft, but we could have in the later rounds. We could have added a 5th round pick, because there's no way. I just come on, these are the experts. These are guys who get paid the big bucks to make these type of decisions, and I'm sure they got all the experience all in the world, but they couldn't see that AOC was not a guy that they could count on to be, or I'm not even gonna say AOC, Minshew, a career backup. You know what I mean? Either or. You know what I mean? That was the quarterback room. Why not add a young quarterback and we're gonna, you know what? We're gonna see real soon. We're gonna actually see Spencer Rattler. I believe Derek Carr is hurt, so he's gonna probably miss at least a game or two. So Spencer Rattler, we'll see what he does. But either way, what I'm trying to say is that why didn't they add to that quarterback room? Why didn't they find a way to add another piece there to maybe that was a little bit more athletic, maybe gave you a little bit more upside?
I would have been Milton. If you really was a level Eichenberg, bro, like Milton went in the 6th, right? Like, man, Joe Milton.
No, and look. It didn't even have to be in the draft. It could have been Joe Flacco. Look what he did with the Browns. Look what he did with the Browns last year. Led them to playoff berth. Deshaun Watson is trash. And Joe Flacco comes into the game, and they look like a completely different offense. Leads them to the playoffs. Yeah. Did you see that game with the Colts? Last couple games, he literally Anthony Richardson. I was a big AR-15, AR-5 at this point. I think he changed his number. Anthony Richardson. But
his nickname,
man, AR-15 would have been clean if he said, but he probably was listening to his agent. I was like, oh, that's a PR nightmare. You got to change your name. You don't want your name to sound like a gun, but it is what it is. But hey, look, Anthony Richardson is going through growing pains. He doesn't look like a quarterback if he can't stay healthy. I don't know what's going to happen, but as soon as he went down, Joe Flacco comes in, wins the game. Colts look like a different team on offense. This game against the Jags went down to the wire, high-scoring game. Flacco, and I'm watching Flacco play. I'm like, this dude is way better than Minshew. Way better.
He's way better than anybody we have. Way better than Minshew, Aiden O'Connell, Carter Bradley, whatever that black dude was we had before. He's way better than all these dudes, bro. Better than all these dudes. So, man, do you see that scramble? Did you see the scramble? Did you see Joe Flacco turn on the Jets for like 20-something yards?
Bro, I'm with you, my 2 cents. Look, failed at acquiring a legit QB, running back, linebacker, O-line. Look, running back, hey, you know what? That's another one where you could be like, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish we went with maybe a better veteran option. You know what I mean? Because you're going with the Zamir, and Zamir. Look, there's on two levels. It's unproven. Yeah, it's unproven, and on top of that, you kind of knew that he wasn't really drafted for that scheme, that zone blocking scheme that they're going to go with. So their answer was Madison. Madison has been solid, but is he a guy that, could be a starter? He had 15 carries for 38 yards last game. Yeah, I don't know if we want to see that I don't want to see another game of that. But it's just one game, but still, like I'm not sure if I want him as a starter, maybe as a more of a role player, maybe a guy that can complement the running back. But I just felt like they could have attacked the running back position. Zach Moss would have been an option. I think he had a strong year last year with the Colts when Jonathan Taylor was down. Yeah. He ended up going to the Bengals for, I don't know what he's doing this year, so I'm not sure how well he's doing, but but I just felt like they didn't prioritize the running back position, especially if they're going to be a running football team and you're going to go with average to below average quarterbacks. That means you definitely want to improve the pieces around the quarterback, which they did have weapons all around them, but that running game, I'm not sure if I'm 100% strong, 100% confident in Zamir and Madison as future starters moving forward. But offensive line, look, my 2 cents, I'm with you. You know what I mean? Did they prioritize offensive line? They did, to a certain extent in the draft with JPJ. Glaze looks like he might be a future starter possibly. He looks nice, so I got to get Telesco some props there. But I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm not gonna lie. And Andre James, he gotta go. Bro. He gotta go. I wanted him gone last season, but I try to put some logic into it just because the guard market, center market went through the roof, so they went with the cheap option with Andre James. But
that was a smart thing to do. That was a smart thing to do in that situation. Not knowing what you're going to be able to do in the draft, but now you have a JPJ who is a guy that can play the center position. So now, hey, address guard in the draft. Hey, if you need to go with another second round pick at guard in the draft, do it, and don't even worry about it. Or if you need to move Thayer Mumford to guard, goddamn, do what you got to do. Andre James has to go though, bro. He is bad, bro. He is bad.
Hey man, appreciate the super chat, my guy. He said little Shooky.
Appreciate you, little Shooky.
Appreciate the super chat, man. Hey, and then we got Smoke again with another. Hey, said get your chicken severe. Congrats, brother. Hey, man.
Appreciate you, big dog. Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Salute to Severe, man. Put it in work, man.
But I understand the running back just because they had Zamir. Zamir, when he started the games he started, he led the league in yards and yards per carry. So they figure, hey, we'll get a guy that kind of complements him. Madison is a better pass catcher. He's also pretty good in his own system too. He's a guy that's he's been in the role as a backup guy, and he did pretty well in that role as a backup. So I can understand that. So I wasn't too mad at that. Even the linebacker situation, but offensive line, I think that kind of should have been a priority, especially improving at right tackle. I mean, I'm happy we got Glaze, but I think that could have used an upgrade there, and the upgrade at center, obviously. So it's bad, and the offensive line, that's the root of a lot of our problems. Quarterback and offensive line, I think those are the roots of all of our problems offensively, or most of our problems offensively. We got Gardner Minshew, AOC, and then we got just this offensive line that really they've been banged up, haven't had a lot of time to gel, and I think they're having some real struggles just really grasping this zone scheme or the outside zone scheme that gets you is running. So it's going to be rough, man. It's going to be rough.
Dire Raider says Tannehill was a free agent when we got Minshew. Nah, I'm not. I wasn't big on Tannehill, to be honest with you. I feel like he was on the downhill.
In fact, he's still a free agent. I think
he's still a free agent, so it should tell you everything you need to know. I think the league sees him going. He's on the downhill as well. But I think Flacco, the Raiders could have easily went after, just because based off the experience. He's experienced in starting games, experience playing in playoff games, experience going to Super Bowl. That'd have been a nice little. And I'm not saying you pick up Flacco and he's going to be the starter. I'm saying you pick Flacco and then you add a young QB in the draft, and then you're like, ooh, I like the combination of experience in that room. And then you can have Flacco kind of be a mentor to some of these young quarterbacks. But Minshew, I just didn't. I don't know, man. It just was. I gotta ding Telesco for that move, man. I just felt like the way he handled the quarterback room, didn't like it. So I'm giving him a C-, D+. Yaya Hatamaki in the chat says, he got Wilkins, but really, are we gonna give him a lot of credit for handing all that money to Wilkins? I mean, you know what? I'll give him credit. That was a position that we've been for years saying we need to get a D tackle. We need to get a D tackle. And he was able to get it done and get that D tackle. So, okay, yeah, there's that. But every move after that, it's kind of been like, I don't know. I'm not really 100% sure. But we'll see, man. The draft might increase that grade a little bit. Like some of these players, obviously JBJ, Glaze, Bowers, home run pick. The Cameron Richardson, incomplete. Your boy Eichenberg, I don't know.
Trash. He can improve. As he's a rookie, he can improve. But this, every time I seen this dude play, trash. Like, dog. Don't even get me started on Eichenberg, bro. Don't even get me started.
But hey, great question though. I think that was Smoke who answered that question as far as grade, man. Appreciate the question. Austin Avila says, I think what we're realizing right now is that our team is 2-3 years away from competing. Whoo, man. And he says, you can solve all these needs in 1 year. You also got to see what you got on your current roster. Okay. Yeah. Man, hey, bro, he's too. Yeah, I think that's what it is too, man. We had just like every season, as Raider fans, we have high hopes. We feel like we could have a solid year, great year, whatever the case may be. We felt like the defense was going to be one of the best defenses in the league. It's not. It's one of the worst. Yeah. Or think we're in the 20. I gotta check it again. Yeah, we're in the 20s, but we're struggling to stop the run. In the second half, if we're going to as recently last game, we weren't. I felt like the Broncos did a good job of protecting Bo Nix, giving a lot of time, especially in that second half. That's something to keep an eye on, especially with Wilkins going down, because Wilkins went down in the first half, in the second quarter. So you've seen the effect of him going down because he was playing some good football. You pair him with Max Crosby, that's a good combination. And now that combination is not going to be there. So guys like Nesta, obviously Adam Butler, John Jenkins, they're going to have to step it up a little bit. So we'll see. Raider Chaos says Flacco, Stafford, Goff, Dalton Carr, Burrow, Geno Smith. Are any of these guys mobile? Functional mobility.
Exactly. Only one of those guys that's really does have no, because Burrow for damn sure is mobile. Carr is too. He chooses not to.
Geno too.
Dalton.
Geno too.
So all those only guys that really aren't are Goff and Flacco, and So
I mean, Flacco's not afraid to use his legs. I was watching the game. He's not afraid to use his legs.
We just saw him do it. He busted out a 20, but it's just traditionally he's not a guy that normally did it. So I've seen Stafford do it before as well. So the only guy on there that doesn't is Goff.
And Carr. And Carr, bro. And Carr, it's all about mindset. It's like he has terrible instincts. Like he has terrible instincts or just terrible. Like technically, athletically, he could run. He could be mobile, but he doesn't use his legs. He doesn't use it. Like he doesn't ever use it. It's almost like he's a statue back there. But in reality, like, hey, you can actually outrun some of these guys over here. But it's just not in him. I mean, I see, and you could say that about Flacco. Flacco, I seen him move a little bit. If you don't have to be a mobile, like you don't have to be Lamar Jackson.
40 years old.
Yeah, you don't have to be Lamar Jackson. You don't have to. You just got to be able to, if it's there, get some 5, 6 yards, 7 yards, and make the defense respect it. Yeah. And I think guys like AOC, for example, kind of struggle in that department. Like it's not part of their game.
Yeah, he really struggled with this last game. Like it was, you can see just like how slow he was, like trying to escape, and it's just not his game, and it's not fair to ask him to do that. It's not fair
Yeah.
to put him in those
It,
positions.
it,
But
it wasn't even him just like, it was like him trying to throw on the run. And it was like I think it might have been his first pass. I don't know, first pass or one of his first few passes where he
yeah, the first
rolls
pass with
out.
Trey Tucker. Yeah, and I think it was incompletion. I think he ended up getting a holding on that pass anyway, but it
Yeah,
was just so
yeah.
like he was like he was moving in slow motion, bro. It's like everybody's moving at one speed.
Yeah, and he was so inaccurate too. It's just like he's a different quarterback than he is when he's standing there and in the pocket than on the run. Like, and that's part of being an NFL quarterback. Sometimes you're gonna have to, buy some time. Sometimes you're gonna have to roll right and you're gonna have to complete the pass. And I think that's where, a guy like AOC struggles. And we'll see what happens this week, man. It's gonna be a battle from what we're hearing, QB battle this week. Larry Fleming in the building. He says there's some whispering about the Boise running back. What's your thoughts? Hey, that boy is serving.
Dog. He's a dog. We ain't gonna get him though. He going first round. He going in the first round, but
some people have been arguing like the competition ain't there, but
bro, like look,
but he had like 1,000 yards in how many games? Like how many games did it take him to take it? It was something crazy. It was like,
look, he not the Boise State didn't have plenty of running backs before, and ain't none of them did that. So I don't care what you talking about the competition. If you that much better than the competition, then you nice.
Yeah,
he was nice.
Yeah.
He ran. Yeah, but he's a dog, bro. And running back is one of those positions that usually translate well to the NFL. Like generally, that position transfers pretty well to the league.
Jared Rivers says Flacco's a smart guy. Our QB reputation is not very good. Most of the older vet come Raiders and suck. I mean, I think this is trauma. You know what I mean? It's just trauma. Yeah. This is like I understand where you're coming from, bro. Like it's like I understand what you're saying, but this is trauma. I mean, if we picked up Flacco, it wouldn't have been a bad move. Based off what we have right now, Flacco is a way better quarterback than AOC and Minshew. To be honest with you, just you know what I mean. And he showed that. He showed that the last couple years. He came off the couch, went to the Browns, and outplayed Deshaun Watson, led them to the playoffs, and then the Colts pick him up. Smart move by them. Richardson goes down. He comes in, wins a game. Last game went down to the wire, like literally was like 35-38 or something like that. Yeah. Final score against the Jaguars.
They came back. They came back, and I picked them. And they was down like 2 tuds, and he brought them back. And then it took, they left Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence played the best game he played this year. So it was one of those situations where.
And I'm not talking up Flacco to be like, oh, I want him to be our starter. I was like, hey, that would have been a better QB to have. Like, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted Russell Wilson to be a guy that the Raiders went after, just because based off experience.
I'll take him right now over him.
But yeah, I take Russell Wilson. It's just bad right now. But hopefully it gets better, man. Hopefully the run games get better. Hopefully the offensive line gets better, because that's just going to help the quarterback play improve. Because we know, if we can all agree, this is not a quarterback room that can make everybody better. I feel like the pieces around the quarterback can make the quarterback better. Meaning the offensive line, if it gets better, then we can see Minshew play better, or whoever, AOC play better. If we get a better running game, then we can see AOC and Minshew get better. So I'm just hoping that the pieces around the quarterback get better, and then hopefully we get better quarterback play, because they don't have to do too much. They don't have to carry the game. You don't have to carry the team. Minshew, not what we need. Aiden, not what we need. Why do we not have a new QB yet? People acting like they don't care. Man,
I mean, I don't think it's I don't know how hard Telesco tried to get up for a quarterback. We heard they tried to trade up to 2, or they made inquiries about trading up to 2. And they were rejected. And I also heard we tried to get up to get Michael Penix, and that deal was turned down as well. So I don't know how hard he tried in either one of those situations, but They made an effort, and we just couldn't get it done. And I think like after that, he was just like, all right, we'll get it. Like, you know, and that's the issue I have. He's like, we can't get Penix or Jaden. No, don't worry about it. We're roll with what we got. Like, you know, it's like, nah, bro. Like, there are other options out there. So I just think he just didn't look into any of the later round guys. Like I said, I would have been happy with Spencer Rattler. I would have been cool with Joe Milton. Like, you know, I like at least somebody to develop, and he did. Like, man, we saw Malik Willis get traded for a 6th round pick, and he's won 2 games, right? He's 2-0 as a starter this year, right? Jordan Love is squeaked by. He's 1-2 as a starter. So, like, why didn't you try to go out and get Malik Willis for a 6th?
Facts. I agree with that too. But I will say this: if you watched, or if you paid attention to those games, they heavily relied on the run game and the piece. So there was, you could see that the pieces around the quarterback, I want to say carried Malik Willis, but made it easier for him to be successful, and he actually was productive. The Raiders, on the other hand, they don't have that luxury the first few games. So that's why I wasn't as tough on Minshew, just because with the offensive line and running game not being there, I'm like, come on, man, like, you're not giving him a chance to succeed. But as I'm watching, you know, the running game getting a little better, the offensive line kind of giving him some time, and he's still kind of making some mistakes, missing some guys open. I'm like, all right, you know what? We'll see if the O-line can continue to improve, and then we get a run game. Why don't we just throw AOC in there? I don't think Minshew's going to lose his confidence if AOC comes. He's been a career backup, and I think that was like an argument before the season started too. Was the fact that, like, if we start with AOC, I don't think it's going to affect Minshew too much. He'll be able to come off the bench and, you know, come in and play with a lot of confidence because he's used to that. So, but that being said, let's move it along real quick. Let's move it along, man. We went off tangent real quick, but we got notable quotables.
Yes, sir.
And this is where we play some quotes that we felt like are worth listening to. And if you want to give the intro to one of the quotes, Severe, real quick.
So I know the hot topic has been around about Davante Adams. Everybody knows about the trade request he made to the team. There's been a lot of different stories about exactly how that came to be. There's been some subterfuge put out there by Davante Adams himself, you know, on the Up and Adams show last Tuesday, where he kind of pointed to blame somewhere else. And this, you know, just today, I want to say we had Jay Glazer, who's, you know, kind of an NFL insider, has been a reporter for a long time. He touched on the topic, and I think he provided some clarity to a very cloudy situation.
All right, let me go ahead and play this clip real quick. My bad, y'all. Golly. Yeah, man. Hey, man. This is the reason why I disagree with Davante and how he handled the situation, because as you hear more details come out, you start to see, like, you know what? Like, this dude was lying the whole time, man. He was scheming the whole time. Let's see here. My bad. Hold on one second. Hold a second.
What do you make of Davante Adams putting up Edgar Allan Poe on his social media?
What do you put up? I don't follow. I try not to follow social media anymore, man. That's what my wife is for. She looks at all that crap.
Well, people assume that it's because, quote the Raven evermore, that it's the poem. What are you making faces at me?
He's not going to go to the Ravens. No, not going to go to the Ravens. That's what we're saying. But here's the thing. Davante, like last Sunday, is that what we put up? Last Sunday, they think that's hilarious.
It's hysterical. It is. It is. You can't help but
I'm not trying to talk over this shit. I don't know how to do it.
It is
like,
funny.
I hardly get speechless, as you know.
It's funny. Where is he going to end up? And what?
Both the Raven guy off my screen, man. Yeah, it's just and then I wanted to say something snarky there, where I'm like, That's why I'm not on social media. Like, hey, what is social media going to say? If I say something bad about Edgar Allan Poe, I'm not going to get that wrath.
Get to it. Come on.
He
You don't want the Poe zealots to come out after you. They're like they're worse than the Swifties. Everybody
fine. Before the game, during the game, after the
All right. All right, here we go. This is where it's at.
So, crushed Sunday, and like last Sunday, everything's fine. Before the game, during the game, after the game, great. He comes in Monday morning. He calls up. He texts Antonio Pierce like, "Hey, I need to meet with you." And AP thought it was about the hamstring, and all of a sudden he's like, "Hey, I'm out. You got to get me out. I don't want my career ending like this. I'm gone. I'm out." And instead of saying, "Well, we'll see. We'll decide," they just kind of granted it and let teams know it's a 2+ if you want it. But I'll say this: there are people in the organization. There are teams that called about Davante. The Jets did, the Niners did, all these teams in the preseason. And Tom Telesco, their general manager, said, I got to give Antonio time with him. We got to give AP a chance. But there are other people in the organization who said, man, we should trade him because we don't have that quarterback of the future, and he's going to get frustrated. And eventually this is going to lead to this anyway. So let's kind of do it. However, with that said, look, the Jets are in, the Saints, they're in, Steelers play them next week, so maybe they'll look at it also. The Ravens, though, love their team chemistry. I don't see the Ravens making this move. And there's not a lot of teams who have the cap space to just bring him in as it is. Like if the Saints want to do it, they're going to have to redo his deal or have the Raiders take on some of the money, which they don't want to do. So they'd have to redo him to an extension where a team like the Jets don't have to do it. So there's a lot of factors involved.
All right, so it's got a little bit more than what we expected, but if you guys paid attention to what he was saying, he broke down the whole Davante situation and how it unfolded. Literally, the Raiders win last week, against the Cleveland Browns in Vegas. Everything was good before the game, during the game, and the game. And then Davante texts on Monday, Victory Monday. Davante hits up Antonio Pierce, and I says, I need to talk to you. And he requests the trade. He said, I want to play somewhere else. And the Raiders, hey, look, I could even picture it, because Antonio Pierce, just based off what we've seen, he seems like a pretty straightforward guy. Like, I'm sure if he feels like a player doesn't want to be here, he's not going to waste any time. He's like, okay, yeah, if you don't want to be here, then and that's how the Raiders should always. I think that's how any team should handle it. I mean, if you don't want to be here, then it doesn't make sense you to be here. I mean, if you're not fully bought in. But the reason why this important detail, because last week when we were talking about the whole Davante situation, everybody was kind of looking over that detail where Ian Rappaport was the first to report it by saying that that Davante requested a trade on Monday. Davante was on Kay Adams' show on Tuesday. And on Tuesday, he talks about when he was asked, have you spoken to Antonio Pierce? He said no. When he was asked, he went out his way to say, oh, I'm not, all this noise is not coming from me. It's coming from outside, places and yada, yada, yada. He basically lied. And now with the details that Jay Glazer from Fox Sports, he pretty much doubles down what Ian Rappaport said. And he was like, hey, yeah, Davante hit him up and was like, hey, look, I don't want to be here. Yep. So easily could have been a flag on a play, but, we just wanted to put it as a notable quotable. I mean, we had so many flags on play this week, but easily could have been a flag on a play, man. Davante could be a flag on a play every week until he gets traded, to be honest with you.
Facts.
But what did you think?
We was not gonna let that booger shit slide. So that had to be. We was not letting that slide.
Hey, when Raiders lose, bro. When the Raiders lose, everything is a flag on a play. Damn near. You know what I mean,
bro.
You look at me wrong.
The problem I have, man, is that there are people in the organization that thought Davante should have been moved, we should have, like, we knew we weren't about to win, bro. Like, everybody knew we weren't going to win, right? Nobody thought we was about to win the Super Bowl. Now, there maybe some people that thought we can get into the playoffs. Maybe there were some people that thought we might win a playoff game. But nobody thought we was about to win a Super Bowl. Nobody, not with these quarterbacks, right? Not with these quarterbacks. I think we both had us around 9 or 10 wins, right? That might get you into the playoffs. That might not. So we weren't on the track to win. By the time we really would have been competitive, even if that's next year, Davante is going to be 33 years old at the end of that season. So it's like, if we had an opportunity to move him. Just get him up out of here, man, and save that money, get some more assets, use that to improve the depth on your team, and use that to do something else. Like, I don't see why, if they had these thoughts about, hey, you know what, he's going to be upset about the quarterback. So if they're already having those thoughts, that must mean they had some kind of inclination before, right? There was a report before saying Davante last year was saying, hey, you know what, I might want to change the scenery, or I wouldn't mind being moved up out of here. So I don't see why we keep trying to hang on to this. Why we tried to hang on to this guy, or why we tried to appease him. We should have just got what we can get and then moved on from him, man. I guess it's a PR thing. Without Davante coming out and saying he wanted to trade, a lot of people probably would have felt like it was a Khalil Mack thing all over again. But it just don't make no sense, man.
It's not even it's just not even that too. Like, at the end of the day, the Raiders got to sell tickets, and Davante Adams puts people in the building. You know what I mean? He's a wide receiver. He's an exciting player. He's one of the best players at his position. I'm sure, like, the other side, the voice in the room was like, "Nah, we can't get rid of Davante. Like, this dude is prime time. You know what I mean? He's one of our prime time players. Why would we get rid of our best offensive player?" You know what I mean? It's not like, but the other Jay Glazer, as he said in the clip, he kind of was like, "Hey, look, there are people in the building that were like, hey, look, this is not going to work. Like, we could see this coming. Like, he doesn't have a quarterback to throw it to him, and he's a top player at his position. It's just gonna frustration. Like, wide receiver is one of those positions where, like, they have to depend on another player to get them to have them be productive. If we're being honest, like, if no one's getting the ball, like, and they could be beating the guy in front of them, they could be dominating, but if that guy's not getting them the ball, like, you can understand why they can be frustrated. And it's sometimes they get a bad rap because, like, they definitely want to. It might sound like they're being selfish, but man, that's why it's like, I understand where Davante's coming from. Like I said, I just don't like how he handled the situation. And part of that is the Raiders handled it. The Raiders should have traded him long before this. But if he wanted to take it within his own hands, he should have demanded a trade during the offseason. Simple as that. After last season, he should have been like, hey, you know what, trade me. You know what I mean? But it is what it is, man. Shout out to Smoke, man. Another super chat, man. Appreciate the support, my guy. He says Jalen Moreau looks like Lamar with a better arm. Talk about that quarterback from Alabama.
Yeah.
How
I like
you feel
Moreau.
about him?
I mean, I honestly, I haven't done a lot of homework on the quarterbacks this year. If I had
starting next week.
Yeah, bro. I'm about to deep dive into them into that position, man, because I just really that's the only hope, man. And I just hate that, the last two guys I really liked turned out to be, franchise changing guys. So I don't know if there's really one of those guys this year. But right now, the guys have at the top, obviously, Cam Ward, Shador. Another guy really intriguing is Jackson Dart from Ole Miss. I don't know. I don't know if you want. I know if you peeped it. I think I retweeted it, but I think a guy like tackled him or sacked him or something like that, and got up and did like a machine gun celebration, and then like I think Jackson Dart like had the picture and then retweeted out like a Young Dolph quote, like how you shoot 100 shots and miss every one or something like that.
Damn, that's funny.
So
That is funny, man. Hey, look, Ken Williams says people talking about Jared Goff. Jared Goff is signed. He signed long-term deal with the Lions, so he's not going to be hitting free agency anytime soon. Super Omicron makes a good point about Malik Willis. He's in that Green Bay system. Willis won't have to work with Getsy, but who? Yeah, hey, you know what? That's another part of it too. Like, can Malik Willis work with a guy like Getsy? I think someone threw this out to me, man.
But Getsy comes from there. That's the problem. That's the thing. Getsy can't. A lot of what he does comes from his time in Green Bay.
Matt LaFleur?
Yes.
Matt LaFleur?
So and it's that Green Bay, that Kyle Shanahan, that outside zone, like that Sean McVay runs the same thing. Like all those guys have different, variations of that same type of outside zone, like offensive system. Now, Sean McVay used a lot more motion. So same thing with Mike McDaniel. I think Mike McDaniel was like the number one in the league in terms of motion. But guess what? We were one of the tops in the league in terms of, like pre-snap motion. So it's something Getsy, he's doing things that like these other guys are doing. It's just that we haven't had a quarterback that can execute on it. So, hopefully if Aiden O'Connell gets to start, hopefully he can do better. But from what I've seen, like he's done as bad or in some instances worse than Gardner Minshew. So I don't know if the answer's on this roster, but we'll see if he wins this competition that's going on.
Right. Well, hey, look, just to move it along, man, we do have another notable quotable, and this one sheds a little bit of light on a player that's been missing for a while, and that's Michael Mayer. We did kind of think that, hey, maybe Michael Mayer might be a guy that might get traded because with everything that was going on the last couple of weeks, business decisions, and then we haven't seen Michael Mayer since then. Since that game and where the infamous comments by AP, the business decision comments came from, and we thought like, hey man, is what's going on with Michael Mayer? Because all we heard was personal reason. But based off what we're hearing and in this soundbite that we're gonna play, shout out to Q Myers and his podcast. He had a little bit more information on it, so let's go ahead and listen to this clip real quick.
What I've been told is that they didn't know what was going on with Big Mike, and then his family had to tell the team about a situation that apparently has occurred in his life before that has put him in a position where he's in. And now that they know what it is, they feel like that they can get to a resolution of it. So I don't know exactly what that means. That's the way that it was worded to me. So it's not he's not looking for a trade. I just saw a lot of people say, oh, Davante and Big Mike are going to be out. That's not the situation at all. And I know the Raiders are working to get him back as quickly as possible, but it truly is a personal situation. And I don't really have anything else to say on it because I can't provide any more clarity. If I do get some, I'll definitely pass it along so you know. But just in case you were wondering, it's not mad at AP, mad at Luke Getsy for not calling his number, him not getting targets. It has nothing to do with that. It truly is a personal situation, and hopefully things work out really well for Big Mike.
Yeah, man. Now that we got a little bit more clarity on the situation, man, hopefully Michael Mayer gets well soon. I don't know exactly what's going on. It's still kind of, even based off that soundbite and what was said there, it's still kind of like we don't know exactly what's going on, but it sounds like it might be some issues that Mayer might be dealing with, especially when he said that, their family reached out to give the Raiders more clarity on what was going on. It's something that happened before, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, I don't want to speculate on what's happening. We'll just leave it at like, hey, he's really dealing with some type of issue, and like I said, hopefully he gets well soon. So, yeah, man. Do you have any thoughts on that whole Michael Mayer situation? Because I'm not gonna lie, like based off what was going on, I was like, hey, and if you remember when we talked about it, we kind of phrased it as like, hey, there's rumors that he might get traded, and hopefully he doesn't get traded based off now the opportunity that he'll have with Davante kind of leaving, basically getting traded. So hopefully we kind of that's the way we kind of phrased it, but we didn't know that he was dealing with issues like this. But like I said, hopefully he gets well soon.
Nah, yeah, definitely, man. Mental health is a real thing, man. There's a lot of people that are out there struggling with it. Different people handle it different ways. I mean, you think about Stetson Bennett, He took a year. He stepped away from the Rams, right, for an entire year, to kind of get his mental health together. And I think he just recently returned to the Rams, or returned to him to the beginning of this offseason, to take it to another sport. You look at Ben Simmons, who has stepped away for a prolonged amount of time, to kind of try to get his mental health together. So, I mean, it's better that, these guys take that time away. Sometimes that time away is needed for you to kind of focus on yourself, get out of that, get out of that like constant competition, that area where you're constantly being scrutinized and criticized and picked over, just because if you already have, mental health challenges, just that kind of environment could really be harmful for you. So, I know that's more of the new school of thinking, where like, back in old school, like, man, you just toughen up, walk through it. But we've been saying, like, nowadays more and more people, they're taking their lives. Like we've seen it, like people who are, I want to say, like, I believe Tony Dungy's son, I believe he took his life. I think there's somebody else. These are people who you think who are living like the best lives. You're rich and you have everything, but like if you have those personal demons, sometimes they can be hard to shake. So it's better for him to try to deal with them now than to let them consume him.
Yeah, like I said, man, hopefully Mayer gets well soon. We'll be able to see him come back, be productive this year. I'm sure everything will get right soon. So now that we know that, like, hey, we don't got to speculate anymore as far as what was going on, as far as him getting traded or anything like that. So that's definitely off the table. That's not the case. He's dealing with some issues. But that being said, this is off topic, but I really forgot about this. This is definitely a flag on the play. Definitely flag on a play. Did anybody catch Randy Moss talking about the Raiders the other day and about the Davante Adams situation? I'm like, you of all people shouldn't even chime in on this. I don't care if you don the silver and black jersey. Like I think I might have sent it to you, Severe. I think I might have sent it to you.
I had seen it because I know Rex was like, Rex had our back.
Rex had our back. Yeah.
And actually, not Davante, I'm tripping. I'm thinking of another diva receiver, but Randy, when he was talking about like the Raiders as an organization, he didn't like really say bad things. He was like, this organization, yada yada. He's like, he didn't say too many bad things, but he was completely on Davante's side. Like, yeah, man, you see how I played when I left. Yeah, that's basically, it's like, yeah, basically he was saying we sucked, and as soon as he got up out of there, he started playing better.
But I think even Charles Woodson was on Davante Adams' side. Yeah, I think it's more about a player thing and like they like when players kind of like have power to control their whole situation, which I'm not.
He did it. Charles Woodson forced his way out. Al Davis was pissed.
Nah. He left in free agency. He forced his way out. The Raiders was going to franchise him again, and he basically said, "I'm not going to sign the tender," basically. And so, that's how he ended up going to Green Bay. So, yeah, that was a definitely interesting signing because usually and the thing is, Packers don't really spend big, but like they took a great chance on Charles Woodson being available, especially Charles. Man, yeah, that's a whole different conversation. But you know what it is? I just hate Randy Moss, man. Like I love him as a player, great talent, but like his time with the Raiders, it just left a bad taste in my mouth, man. It's just terrible, bro. Like he just, it is what it is, man. Anytime he talks about the Raiders, it feels like he's gonna take it. Because he's in the past, he's taken shot at the Raiders too, as well. Like I don't want to pull up the clips.
Yeah, no, he has. I think people say he used to be a Raider. And he's like, I was never a Raider, basically. And it was like,
hey, you know what? I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that.
Was, bro.
Yeah,
was.
That once a Raider, always a Raider does not apply to Randy Moss. But I think he might have got a plaque or something like that in the Raiders Allegiant Stadium. Like all the former players have like their name. It's like some type of, I don't know if anybody in the chat could like speak to this, but I think there's something in the Allegiant Stadium where former players and their names are at, and Randy Moss got one of those. But I think they should just get a hammer and just scrape it off.
If I ever go back, I'm vandalizing that thing, bro.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
Exactly, right? I'm gonna cover it with a picture of Tim Brown, bro.
For
He gets 2
real.
spots.
Man, hey man, not every that once a Raider always a Raider does not apply to every player that played for the Raiders, man. Some guys don't deserve that, that prestige, man. But yeah, man, Raider night, man. No divas allowed. Yeah, facts, man. No dramas, man. I'm tired of drama. But let's move it along real quick, man. We appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to click in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We're going live on both our channels, so make sure to hit the like button on both channels and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're notified when we go live and drop new content.
Look at Red Raider smoke coming out.
What did he say?
He's Tim Brown get kicked with me. He told us a story about Tim Brown.
Oh man, we're not gonna put him on full blast. We're not gonna put him on full blast.
Tim Brown's he's still my favorite Raider, man. That notwithstanding, that's still my favorite Raider.
Yeah, man. Hey, you know what? They say never to meet your heroes or something like that. Just because I ain't gonna lie. If let's say because growing up I was a big Kobe fan. I think if I would have met Kobe, I think I would hate him for life because he seemed like an asshole. For sure. But R.I.P. Kobe. But hey, Raider Smoke with another super chat, my guy, man. Appreciate it. Hold on.
He said, bro brought up Hunter Renfrow.
Bro brought up Hunter Renfrow. Rex had our back. You know what though? I'll give him that though. Like, what has happened to Hunter Renfrow? Like, what is going on? Like, his boy Derek Carr couldn't get him an opportunity with the Saints. Like, I don't know. Is Hunter Renfrow like, I'm done with football? Like, it's a strange situation that we don't know too much about. We just
I don't
know
think
that
Hunter Renfrow wants to play no more, bro.
Exactly.
Hunter Renfrow he would be on the squad somewhere, bro. Like Derek Carr got Jonathan Abram a job. Like, you think he couldn't get Hunter Renfrow a job? He got Brian Edwards a contract. You think he couldn't get Hunter Renfrow a contract? Foster Moreau, after a cancer diagnosis, got a contract. You think he couldn't get Hunter Renfrow a contract? Though Hunter Renfrow don't want to play, bro. He made enough money. He probably did his finances. Like, look, man, if we live a normal life, this money can last us. I invest right. I think it only takes 3 years. I think 3 years for you to be part of, like, get the NFL pension, I want to say. So, like, 3 years, three seasons of service. So I think he's probably out of that. So he probably got some money coming in through that too. He probably cool. He probably like, I'm good. I'm straight.
Rob of Sin City says Hunter is a substitute teacher now.
Man, facts.
Oh man, you hilarious for that, man. My guy Raider Knight says, Pharaoh Severe, you guys go to Raider home games. We went to the first game, the home opener, to the unofficial home opener in LA against the Chargers. As far as moving forward, man,
I'll be at the Rams game.
You'll be at the Rams game, but I'm gonna see about going to maybe to a road game. Hopefully them home games. If the Raiders are gonna be playing like this, hopefully them home game tickets, they need to go down.
Cheap than
they better be cheaper.
Yeah, but no, hell no, because the other teams other teams gonna want to come out here and see their team whip our ass. So it's gonna be the same. They'll fly out to watch them curb stompers and stay in Vegas for the weekend.
I went to look. The Raiders played the Steelers this week. I went to last year's Steelers game. Yeah. When I tell you, man, that stadium was covered in Steeler fans, man. It was disgusting. Like, but that being said, historically speaking, like, Steeler fans do travel well. Like, they have a big fan base, so they do travel well. Even out in Oakland too. I remember Steeler fans were out there in Oakland too. So it's not like, because of Vegas and stuff like that. But I think Vegas, it just went to a whole different level. Like, I don't expect it to be I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting this week, especially after a tough loss against the Broncos. How the Raider fans out there kind of respond. Hopefully, they show up strong. But yeah, I'm definitely probably if I could get some good tickets, yeah, for sure, probably go to maybe a couple more home games this year. We'll see, man. Yeah, man. If I do, man, I'm definitely gonna shout it out. I'm gonna let y'all know, man, on the community tab, and hopefully we link up. I was mad that I was able to. I missed the tailgating in LA, but I'm gonna make sure that I'll make that. Yeah, man. I'm going to make that a priority every game, and I can't miss that, man. It's a good opportunity to link up with people and have a good time before the game. But yeah, man, we'll keep y'all posted on social media and be on the lookout on the community tab. Always, if I'm going to a game, I make sure to announce it to everybody, and then we can all link up, have a good time. And hopefully it's a W. I want to see the Raiders win, man. I don't want to see the Raiders lose too.
Man.
But real quick, man, let's move it along, man. Let's go to what's real, what's not. This is where we say a statement, and y'all react to it, and we react to it as well by saying it's real or it's not. So the first statement is the Raiders need to name Aiden O'Connell the starter for the remainder of the season. The Raiders need to name Aiden O'Connell the starter for the remainder of the season. Is this real or is it not? Let us know in the chat. I'm just going to say this. I'm going to say this is not real. I don't think they need to go ahead and make that type of announcement saying that he's going to be the starter for the remainder of the season. I think they should just, if they're going to name Aiden O'Connell, just name him a starter, because if we're going to be honest here, there might be a situation where Aiden O'Connell struggles or whatever the case may be. You might need to go back to Minshew. Like I mentioned before, we had Tashawn Reed. Shout out to him, beat writer for the Raiders. He literally said he was there. You know, obviously you can believe that he was out there during mini camps. He was out there in training camp, and he's seen both quarterbacks struggle. And he was like, this is a situation where they're going to go back and forth with the quarterback all season long. So I don't think the Raiders need to go out and say, oh, AOC is the starter for the remainder of the season. I don't think it's that type of situation. I just think that, you know, it is what it is, man. I think it's just one of those situations where, you know, AOC could possibly be a starter, and if he plays well, he'll hold the job. If he doesn't play well, then I can see a guy like AP maybe going back to Minshew or whatever the case may be. How do you feel about this? You think it's real or is it not?
So it's a little bit of a cop-out. I think it's real, but I don't want it to happen until after the Steelers game, because I don't think he has a chance in the Steelers game. I just think the way our offensive line is, I think he will take a beating in that game, and I don't want him to take that kind of beating. Just let Gardner Minshew go out there and take those hits, take those sacks, and then we have a Rams game that's, with their injuries. I think that's, and they lost Raheem Morris, so their defense is not really the same either, and they lost Aaron Donald. So I'd rather let Aiden get that start in that game, and Antonio Pierce just name him the starter for the rest of the season after that, right? And just and that way you don't have and this is what I said, the same thing about Gardner Minshew in the beginning of the year. You don't want it to be a situation where the guy is always looking over his shoulder, like, hey, I can get pulled at any minute, worried about the guy nipping at his heels. Just say it's like, even if you plan on like, even if you thinking in your back of your mind, like, yo, if this gets bad, I'm gonna pull him. At least don't say that out loud. Name him the starter. He's gonna be the starter for the rest of the season. If he lays an egg and you need to make a change, then go ahead and make that change. But I just think that this Pittsburgh game can get ugly, and I don't want him to step into that kind of situation. I just let him start off with a clean slate, everything fresh. By that time, hopefully Davante is traded, so you don't have to deal with that quack either. We kind of know what we'll have in terms of weapons. Mike Mayer probably wouldn't be back, but at least we'll have, like, the air will be more clear. And then if you give him the best opportunity you can to have success and see what you have in him. And if he's your backup quarterback or if he's trade bait this offseason, either one of those, like I said, no matter how well he plays, I'm drafting the quarterback in the first round.
So, it's a mixed bag. Some people saying real, some people saying not real. I can understand both arguments, but I'm just like, does it really matter to announce that he's going to be the starter the remainder of the season? Because I'm sure there's going to be a situation where AP is going to be like, you know what, let's go ahead and let's get Minshew in the game. I can see that happening. You know what I mean? So I don't think it really matters. I think, can they announce it for a game and then just play it by ear? I could see that happening, but I don't know. I just feel like that's not real. But hey, look, AOC could easily come out and say, "Oh, AOC is going to be the starter for the remainder of the season." And to be honest with you, if they announce it in that way, I feel like that probably comes from up top, probably above AP's head, because just based off how AP has been talking about AOC, it just seems like he really wants to go with Minshew over AOC. Like he wants that to work out a little bit more. I just feel like his confidence level in AOC, I don't think it's where you think it's at with, just because he was the guy that, helped him get his head coaching opportunity, because he was a quarterback that he had no choice. Like he literally had no choice. It was either him or Brian Hoyer. Like it's not like and the whole offseason, literally he was talking about other quarterbacks. He was talking about Jane Daniels. And I believe AP. I believe that he really wanted to get a quarterback in that draft. The Raiders just didn't have that opportunity. Someone in the chat said, "Oh, ATL blew up the draft." Yeah, man. I hope we blow him out this year. I mean, it's gonna be tough because the way they're playing. I mean, Kirk Cousins out here throwing 500 yards a game. I mean, last game he threw for 500 yards, but we do play him on Monday Night Football. But I'm still gonna remember how Atlanta really messed up our draft, man. I thought Penix was gonna go to the Raiders, man. I thought it was gonna be a perfect fit. We probably wouldn't even be hearing about Davante wanting to get traded.
Probably not. So.
But Joe Rocha says if Getsy's still our OC, AOC will struggle as well.
I don't think it's Getsy, man. I think it's execution.
Yeah. I don't think the Cleveland game, I thought Getsy called a good game. I thought this game, I didn't feel like there wasn't really. You could probably, if you're nitpicking, you could probably point to certain situations, but I don't think Getsy was a huge issue this game. I thought there might have been issues where it was 3rd and 5 and the Raiders chose to run the football, and they were on the opponent side, meaning that I think they were on like the 40+ yard line for the Broncos, and they ran it on 3rd and 5. So I'm like, okay, if you're going to run it on 3rd and 5 and you're literally, you go for on 4th, but they end up kicking it. It was kind of a weird.
Yeah, I don't blame that on Getsy. I blame that on, I think that was a situation where Antonio
Pierce.
Antonio Pierce.
That was Antonio Pierce. So, but as far as calling the game, I don't think the last couple games a lot of it has to do with the players, to be honest with you, and mostly the quarterback position. And you could point to the defense not playing well. Do we really want a QB that eats boogers in public?
Bro, no. But
definitely, we call that flag. But let's move it along to the next. What's real? What's not? The next what's real? What's not? Is if the Raiders continue to struggle, Antonio Pierce will be fired at the end of the year. If the Raiders continue to struggle, Antonio Pierce will be fired at the end of the year. Is that real or is it not? Let us know in the chat. Is that real or is it not? If the Raiders continue to struggle, Antonio Pierce will be fired at the end of the year. Severe, what you think?
Not real. But know what I find just like it's funny is that there are people who will be like, oh, like Aiden O'Connell's only played 9 games. Like, you can't say what he is, or you can't say he's no good. But like, yeah, we need to fire Pito. Like, get him out of here. He's trash. Like, what? He's only been the real head coach for the same amount of basically the same amount of time. So, but I don't think. First of all, I don't think that you can run an organization firing a coach every other year. We already see, and I talked about it before, and I think agents came out and said it too. And when we did that, I think we did a flag on the play about the agents and what the agents think of the Raiders. It's like people didn't like the Josh McDaniels thing, but agents looked at that like, yo, I can't send my client to your organization and have any kind of, and say with any kind of certainty that there will be some consistency there or any kind of, foundation, because you're firing coaches every other year. So it's going to make agents and steer their clients in other directions. So, and it'll be the same with the players as well. Players want to go somewhere where there's some stability. So if we're firing these coaches all the time, that reflects poorly on us, and then you can never really build something if you're just doing this constant turnover on philosophy and the leader and the voices in the room. So I think Mark Davis has learned his lesson. I think he's going to ride this thing out. I think AP gets at least 2 years. I think he gets at least 3 years, unless he just does something just like
He should.
Unless he did something just totally wild or crazy. I think he's going to get, I think he's going to get a little while to go through these growing pains. I think everybody understood what it was, and even Mark Davis talked about it himself, right? He's like, there are guys that are defensive minded guys, there are guys that are offensive minded guys, and there are guys that are more like the CEO, like leadership type guys. And he identified, Antonio as one of those CEO leadership types. And with that being said, you depend a lot on your coordinators, and I think that he's going through growing pains himself. I think this offense is going through growing pains, learning Getsy's system. But I think that, another year under his belt, I think we'll be better next year.
I agree with you 100%. I think AP needs to get more than 1 year. I think any head coach should get more than 1 year, unless it's like extreme circumstances that went on that first year. Then you have to get rid of think Urban Meyer, head coach of Jacksonville Jaguars, where he was just a huge distraction, dysfunctional head coach. He literally wanted to get fired. Like it seemed like at the end of his tenure there.
He kicked the punter, bro. That was like already.
You know what I'm saying? Like he wanted to get fired. So look, that was that type of situation. You could see how, but any other situation, you got to give. You got to give a coach like AP more than 1 year, especially you haven't even given an opportunity to get his quarterback. He doesn't have a quarterback. So that means your room for error is very small. Like at the end of the day, you're depending on other facets of your team to carry the team. And just like we found out, injuries can happen to any team. And defensively, the Raiders are dealing with a whole lot of injuries, and it's affecting them. And we're not looking like the same defense last year. And we're struggling right now, and obviously we don't have that run game, and you could see that a lot of this is kind of piling up, and I think you got to give a guy like AP more time. Now, that being said, I'm going to play devil's advocate real quick. It's the 50-50 show, so I got to play the other side to it. So Severe just said not real. I'm going to say this could be real. Why can it be real? Mark Davis. Mark Davis was pressured into hiring AP. You can make an argument that he was pressured into hiring AP, meaning that like the whole locker room, when he fired McDaniels, he went out his way to apologize to the players, because if you guys remember, rewind, before he hired McDaniels, he could have hired Bisaccia, who led the Raiders to the playoffs when John Gruden had to get fired in the middle of the season. And a lot of the players were fighting for Bisaccia when he led them to the playoffs. And Mark Davis obviously went against the players and what they wanted and a lot of the fan base. And he went with McDaniels. That obviously didn't work out. Fast forward, he goes and apologizes to the players. You got Max Crosby pretty much implying on his podcast, like, hey, if we can't bring AP back, then he's pretty much implying that I might not want to come back.
Yeah.
So a lot of pressure on Mark Davis, and he is a defensive head coach. John Gruden is still out there. He's out there in these YouTube streets killing it, And if there's a world or opportunity where he could bring back John Gruden, I bet you Mark Davis is thinking about it. And he also thinks about like, hey, look, a lot of these owners want to hire offensive-minded head coaches for a reason, because you don't have to worry about that offensive coach leaving after 1 year of success when you're developing a young quarterback. I'm just saying, I'm going to play the other side to it. I don't agree that AP should get fired at the end of the season, but I could see a guy like Mark Davis being impatient and impulsive and trying to be like, you know what, this guy was a linebacker coach. He's never been a defense coordinator. He's never been a head coach. You know what I mean? It's too risky.
Yeah.
He was supposed to do this. He's wanting things too soon and not being, understanding of the situation. You know what I mean? And Telesco, There's another side to it. Telesco wasn't able to choose AP. He inherited AP. He came into the job, and if we had to choose one scapegoat, right? Let's say there was a scapegoat, right, this season, and it was either between Telesco. Do you think that Telesco has a longer leash, or do you think AP? I think AP doesn't have as much of a longer leash than Telesco, just because he's the GM. GM typically get more time. They're not going to get just 1 year, and he was handpicked by Mark Davis. He was like, "Oh, we got the experienced GM." You know what I mean? But I'm just playing the other side. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm just saying, like, hey, look, if you, I can see in a world where Mark Davis can come in and fire AP. But let's see what the chat thinks, bro. Let's get into what the chat. I had to pull this up real quick. I think let's see real quick. Some people was talking about the they're talking about the Jacksonville game is $40. Is Jacksonville playing in Vegas, or are they playing in Jacksonville?
No, I told Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville shouldn't be playing nowhere, because I think that they got like Hurricane Milton heading their way.
That's what I'm saying. I ain't going to no Jacksonville game.
And I know. I think the Buccaneers have to relocate. I don't know if Jacksonville have to relocate though. I want to say the Buccaneers have to relocate. I think the Buccaneers relocated to New Orleans. So
yeah, because I think literally that I seen somewhere where, like, you know, the storm is pretty much going to be hitting Tampa Bay, so it's going to be tough for that city. Yeah. But yeah, I'm definitely not going to no Jacksonville game if there's going to be a hurricane over there. That's wild, man. I think that came from real Raider way. I think he'd be clowning, man. So I think he's just playing around.
Somebody said the Jags are playing in London. So.
Oh, okay. All right, they're playing in London. All right, man. Let's get back into the chat real quick. Let's see, they're playing in London. Let's see what people are saying right now. Event something. Austin Avila said, Have y'all heard the rumors about Mark wanting to bring Gruden back? Apparently Raiders brass was talking about it at the event last week. You see what I'm saying? That's why I say
if this let Mark do some stuff like that, bro. I swear, bro, I will be. I've been one of the biggest defenders. I've been one of the biggest defenders of Mark Davis from the fan base. He do some nonsense like that, bro. I'm done. I am done. Not even just because he's firing AP. Insofar as you gotta get, like, this wishy-washy back and forth stuff, it's not gonna work, because then John Gruden gonna come in and want to hire his own. So John Gruden gonna come in and fire Telesco because he want to hire his own GM. So he gonna want his own GM again. He gonna reset and turn over this whole roster again. It's just gonna be a bad look, man. So we need to let AP do his thing. Let AP get a full 2 years at least. We bring back Gruden, bro. I'm going on a rampage, right?
Yeah, and another thing too. What happens if? Look, and this is the other. I'm playing the other side, y'all. I don't want AP to get fired. I think he deserves more. But what happens if AP loses the locker room? Like, you know, one of the strengths of AP, hiring a coach like AP, you're kind of saying, like, oh, he's a leader of men. You know what I mean? He's a guy that the players rally around, and he loses the locker room in his first year as a head coach. That's his biggest strength.
Yeah. But,
you know,
honestly, I don't see that. I don't see it happening. I really don't see it happening. I mean, I think Davante's on Davante time, and I think there are some people in the building. Like Max has a very close relationship with Davante personally, so I don't think he'll ever criticize him. But, you know, there's been stuff from the players that kind of like led me to believe that Davante was kind of wearing out his welcome, or Davante kind of doing his own thing, kind of getting on people's nerves. Like there were some reports out there. I think we talked about it on Around the Shield, where they said they didn't expect Davante to miss that much time when he was, you know, on paternity leave, and like they the way he handled the Jimmy G situation and the Netflix show Receiver rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. So, I mean, I don't think AP is on the verge of losing a locker room yet. I think everybody kind of knows this was going to be a tough year. And I think he'll pull through it. I think he'll pull through this first year. What happens next year? I don't know. Especially if they don't get a quarterback. Like if he keep losing and don't nothing else matter if he losing.
Hey, you know what would be what would be worse than hiring Gruden? Like I think Gruden is just hiring Gruden back would be terrible. Like I would hate that move. It just feels like a backwards move. But you know what would be worse? Imagine Tom Telesco fires AP and hires Staley.
Oh my God, bro.
Oh my God. That's doom days, bro. That's
oh my God.
That's the wrong answer right there, man.
Oh my God.
That would it wouldn't matter what Tom Telesco do after that. Like I would want him fired immediately. Like, but you know, I'm just a fan of the team, man. I don't got no power into who gets hired, but just from the outside looking in, bro, that would be a terrible move. Staley, we all know was a problem with the Chargers. Imagine him getting oh my God,
bro. Him or Gruden, bro. Like just imagine. Do people have no idea how far back this organization got set back with Gruden, man? Like how far we got set back with Gruden, bro. It's the Cleveland Farrells, the Jonathan Abrams, the Josh Jacobs, the who else? Henry Ruggs. That's not really on him, but the Damon Arnett's, the Alex Leatherwoods. Like, bro, just imagine if we had just serviceable players out of those drafts, right? They ain't got to be superstars. If they were just serviceable players, like how different this franchise would be, bro. This is.
Smoke with a super chat, man. Appreciate it. Severe will serve Gruden with a stone cold stunner, man.
with the Brock bottom.
Hey, bro, he gonna and Gruden gonna get up like Undertaker, man. Because when it comes to that head coaching job, that I think he's desperate for a job right now. He's trying to get back into the league. Like he's definitely trying to get back into the league. I think after that whole situation, but if the Raiders do that, it just feels like a backwards move. I don't want it to happen. I just threw out Gruden's name. It don't even have to be Gruden. I was trying to play devil's advocate and say, like, if in a world where I could see AP get fired, I could see Mark trying to hit a home run with another head coach he feels like would be a bigger home run hit. Like, for example, let's say if Ben Johnson was available, and let's say if Mark was a big fan of Ben Johnson, and and Mark listens to people around him, and let's say if a Tom Brady was in his ear, like, hey man, this is the guy right here. He could be the. I'm just saying it. There's a possibility, man. Mark has had coaches announce their own firing, like literally, because he was so excited to
Jack Del Rio.
Del Rio literally was 1 year removed from leading his team to a playoff berth. Literally took almost, I don't know how many years. It was a playoff drought, and he led this team. And in that season, they had a tough season. They went like 7-9 or 6-10 at the time.
Yeah.
This one was a 16-game season.
That was the Ty Downing year.
Yeah, and then at the end of that season, Del Rio literally came to the press conference. He announced his own firing to the team. I'm sure he holds that, like, which I don't care because, I don't say I won't care, but I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But he was talking a lot of. I think I seen him on Showtime talking some trash about the Raiders. I think it was how happy he was when Saragusa fell on Rich Gannon. It might have been on Showtime or one of them NFL shows.
And he's supposed to be a Raider fan too.
Because he was working for
the Ravens at that time.
Yeah. I think he might have.
He was a defensive coordinator. He might have been a position. He might have been a position coach.
Linebackers coach. The linebackers coach.
I think Marvin Lewis was the defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Right. But I think the thing about to your point about I know you brought this over with AP, but I think one of the things is that there was reported that Jack Del Rio had kind of lost the locker room. And we kind of see that happened to him in Washington as well with the Commanders, where he low-key lost the locker room, where didn't he make some comments about about Eric. Was it Jack Del Rio to make some comments about Eric being, or he made some comments about somebody, and he ended up having to walk him back. So I think he had lost the locker room with the Raiders, and that was kind of what prompted. And then and he was the secondary plan anyway, because Mark Davis had already tried to hire Gruden, and Gruden rejected him the first time. But then so Mark Davis came with some longer money, and was like, look, what about now? And Gruden was like, what, 10 for 10? I'm taking that. But I mean, that's what I'm worried about, is that if we fire Antonio Pierce to go after a guy like Ben Johnson, it'll turn out like Josh McDaniels or something, bro. And I just I'm just that's like, man, even though Bobby Slowick, Ben Johnson and Bobby Slowick are my guys, two guys I've been touting since early last year, but I'm just definitely afraid that some bad juju.
But I just hope that I was just playing devil's advocate, and the question was like, do you see Antonio Pierce getting fired at the end of the season, or not the question, but the statement? And I was playing devil's advocate and saying like, hey, this could be a possibility at the end of the season. We've seen it happen before, but at the end of the day, the Raiders need some stability. Whoever's that head coach, he need to stay there for more than 1 year. The only reason why McDaniels got fired is because he literally, everything that can go wrong went wrong. He lost the locker room. Offense was terrible. He's an offensive-minded coach. So many things went wrong. Obviously,
bad free agency class. Like
everything that can go wrong. The fact that we missed out on getting the quarterback. You know what I mean? Like, there was an opportunity for us to trade up, and we didn't want to give up whatever to trade it, because the Panthers were able to trade up to number one. Imagine if we traded up number one and pick C.J. Stroud. That's all in the past, but that was a possibility if the Raiders made the right moves, and it just feels like we always miss out on those type of moves. And there's so many things that you could point to where it didn't work out with McDaniels. And if we're being honest, I thought he was going to get fired at the end of the season. I was surprised when he got fired in the middle of the season, but either way, rest is history. Whoever the coach is, I hope AP is going to be there for the next, like you mentioned earlier, at least 3 years. Hey, you know what? Worst case scenario, Getsy gets fired this year. Or if Getsy's, and that's worst case scenario. That I'm just saying, Getsy gets fired. Best case scenario is, hey, look, we see the potential. This offense starts to get productive, and then we could look at. But then I don't know, man. Do you want to draft a QB under Getsy? It's tough right now. It's tough to say.
I wouldn't say that he's bad at developing quarterback. I mean, like, he was there for the formative years of Jordan Love, so as a quarterbacks coach. So, and he had a hell of a year last year. He's been kind of up and down this year.
I don't know, man.
The talent is obviously there.
I give more credit to that organization, man. I just feel like the Packers, when it comes to like drafting and development, like, they have to be great at that in order to be successful, because no free agent, they're not going to get free agent players to come to Green Bay. But as far as drafting players, they're really good at drafting, developing quarterbacks, like literally from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers and to now Jordan Love. You know what I mean? And then even receivers too, like they draft well. Packers draft well, so you got to give them props. But man, we went overtime today. We appreciate everybody coming through. It's been a great show. Make sure to clock in at this point. Clock out, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We see everybody in the chat, man. We're trying to get to as much comments as possible. But, hey, I mean, everybody in the chat, man, if we can't get to your comment, make sure to leave a comment after the video. We read all the comments and respond as best we can. So, just leave a comment, man. If you disagree, agree, or anything that was said during the show, make sure to leave a comment after the video or after the stream. Severe, my guy, man. Salute to you. Congratulations once again and getting monetized. Let the people know where they can find you and what to look forward to.
Man, first off, man, big thanks to my guy Pharaoh, man. He reached out to me a minute ago, start this thing. When it came a long way, man. From me recording on a tablet to now having the actual setup. So shout out to Pharaoh. We met at the Pittsburgh game last year, so this is kind of a little full circle game for the Raiders. Man, and appreciate everybody in the chat, everybody that subscribed to the channel, everybody that took the time out your day to listen to me talk my trash, man. So shout out to you guys. But you guys know what it is, man. This is Severe Raider on YouTube. This is Severe Raider on IG. This is Severe Raider on X, on Snapchat, on TikTok. Man, we're gonna keep pumping out this content, man. Make sure you guys stop by the 50/50 shop. I have my misspelled comment pinned in my chat, but the link is the correct link. So make sure y'all stop by, get y'all some stuff, man. There's some dope stuff on there. So make sure y'all, the best way to support the show is to cop something from there. As well as hit that like and hit that subscribe and hit that notification bell, man. Coming at you guys again this Friday evening for Around the Shield. But catch us every Tuesday night with the 50/50 show.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, I pinned it. It's in the description if y'all want to check out the 50/50 shop. There's actually a new shirt that's on the shop, One Nation shirt. It's a new drop. We dropped it this week, so definitely go to 5050shop.printify.me. It's pinned in the chat as well as in the description. Make sure to check out the shop, man. A great way to support the show, as well as, hey, man, get some nice gear, man. It's, hey, low key, hey, we're Raider fans, so we're going to make sure that it's dedicated to Raider fans. So we appreciate the support. We do this every week, 50/50 show every Tuesday evening nights, man. Make sure to check us out. And we also do Around the Shield this Friday, man. We're going to get into it. We're going to laugh because game picks, man, we had game picks for the first time this last week. Man, I had a tough weekend, y'all. Man, it was tough, man. Yeah, I'm gonna have to redeem myself next week.
Man, you gotta tell me that offline. You gotta tell me the tally. I know we're gonna share the actual tally for Around the Shield, but I need to because I know it's a few games. I didn't pull out.
Oh man,
like the Colts game. I know I didn't get the Raiders game. Of course, none of us got. The Cowboys, I think I might have been the only one to pick the Cowboys too. So it was a few. I zigged a little bit, and I took some calculated risks. So
yeah, man.
Man, shout out to Dirk Zink, man. Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate everybody coming through, man. It's been it's been a great show. But like I was saying, man, we got Around the Shield coming up this week on Friday. Most likely, just be on the lookout, man. Hit that notification bell. It might be live, might be pre-recorded, but hit that notification bell so you'll be notified. And also follow us on Around the Shield. We have our personal pages, The Severe Raider, PharoahNFL, but we have Around the Shield. It's one of the hottest new pages, man, on IG. Make sure to go over there and give us a follow there, as well as on X as well. X is, someone was clowning like X. It is now called X, man. It's not called Twitter, y'all. It's called X. It's called X. So definitely follow us on there, including Around the Shield, where you get the latest updates with the Raiders, clips of us as well on IG. So I know a lot of people got a short attention span. So y'all can watch clips where we talk about the Raiders and all that good stuff, and memes too. We got a sense of humor too. We like to laugh. So definitely check out Around the Shield on IG as well as on X. Give us a follow there. But like I said, on the way out, man, clock out, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff. We appreciate everybody coming through. It's been a great show. Man, we got people congratulating you, man. Appreciate it. Shout out to everybody. Yeah, yes, sir. Any smoke guy. What is X?
He still talking about that one time we had to give him the Instagram tutorial.
Man. Hey, definitely, bro. Hey, you already know, man. Just 50/50 shop.
For sure.
.printify.me, man. That's where you can get some dope stuff. And we just dropped the One Nation dope shirt. And I'm probably, just be on the lookout, man. I think right now shirts. I think we're gonna get more hoodies there too as well.
Robinson City clowning. I think you talking about market calendar for Halloween Day, because that's when we got rid of McDaniels last year. So.
Hey, you got jokes, man. That's funny, man. Hey, man. But hey, Severe, any last thoughts before we head out?
Nah, man. Shout out to everybody, man. Appreciate you guys. All the support. Through all these months, all these shows, and finally got monetized. So now I can tell YouTube to run me my money.
Bring me my money.
All right, bro. We out. We out.
Just win, baby.
Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.